doubleeagle.golf.
Are you familiar with everything the Lincoln Children's Museum offers? Camps, field trips, and game day playdates are just a few of the extraordinary programs provided by the Lincoln Children's Museum. When you spend a day with your family at the Lincoln Children's Museum, your child's mind can explore while enjoying the many interactive exhibits they have, while keeping admission prices extremely affordable. Stop by the Lincoln Children's Museum today in downtown Lincoln, or visit them online for more information at lincolnchildrensmuseum.org.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Hey guys, it's Nick. It is time that we crown 6 state championship winners, and we put a bow on this season of high school football here on 93.7 The Ticket. Join me and Jay Foreman from Memorial Stadium on November 24th and 25th for a total of 6 state championship matchups heard right here on The Ticket. We kick things off at 10:15 on Monday with Class D1 action, followed by the Class D2 title that features St. Mary's and Why Not, all wrapping up on Monday with a nightcap of number 1 Waverly and number 2 Gretna East. Then on Tuesday morning at 10:15, we start in Class C1, number 1 Wahoo versus number 3 Sydney, followed by Class C2 title game action at 2:45 p.m., all wrapping up with the Class A championship match between number 4 Millard South and number 3 Papio South. All 6 state championship games heard right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com on Monday and Tuesday, November 24th and 25th.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
This is a presentation of Nebraska High School football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. High school football broadcasts are powered by Edward Stone, Sunbelt Rentals, Union Bank and Trust, Doane University, Hamilton Telecommunications, Jimmy John's, Nebraska Army National Guard, Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, and Play It Again Sports. Now, calling all the action, here's Nick Sainert and Jay Foreman.
That is right. It is time for game number 3 on the docket here from Memorial Stadium. Game 3 of the day. 3 more to go after this one tomorrow as we bring you more state championship coverage. This time, we turn attention to Class B action, and it's going to be a doozy. We have the Waverly Vikings going up against the Gretna East Griffins. The Griffins on the year coming in with an 11-1 record, while the Vikings unblemished 12-0 undefeated campaign here in 2025. The Waverly Vikings looking for their first title since 1980, for the first time since in 45 years, trying to hoist that trophy for Gretna East, a team that was just started in 2023 across all other sports, has found a lot of success at the state championship level. But if they can win tonight and finally hoist that state football trophy, that'll be the first for them in school history. Nick Sainert alongside here on the 6th floor of Memorial Stadium with the Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. Jay, we saw an electric matchup in D2 a couple of hours ago and a 71-60 victory in favor of Why Not. We don't think this one's going to have that many points, though.
No, you got two physical teams that want to try to beat you up front and across the lines, and it built the football teams or their programs through hard work. And so it's not going to be a lot of flash, but it's going to be really good football. The great thing about it, I think, is that the stage is set tonight from Why Not and St. Mary's, but more importantly, you got two upstart programs in Class B that was generally dominated by Bennington, and even before that, Omaha Skutt Catholic. So. Look, there are two teams that came through the hard way. Gretna East is literally new kids on the block, whereas Waverly kind of built it through some trials and tribulations and done it the right way. and two teams that don't know each other. They're in the same league but haven't been able to play each other, and they don't know each other that well. So I'm expecting some fireworks early.
Yeah, it's going to be good. A nice crowd on hand, filling a large part of each the East and the West stands. The Waverly Vikings in a blackout, and then down below us, the speckles of black, gold, white. It's a whiteout for the student section for Gretna East here this evening. And the Griffins, man, they coming out in some pretty slick uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Those chrome helmets, they shine all the way up top.
Yeah. You know, it was staged and set by their young ladies basketball coach. He was styling and profiling, and obviously the football team is obviously taken to a whole nother level, man. It's some slick-looking uniforms, and they have to play to back it up as well.
Gretna East, just to kind of have that conversation real quick, they became a school in the fall of 2023. In 2024, this football program, I should say in 23, this football program for Gretna East won just 3 games. Last season, they won 6, but lost in the second round to Seward by a touchdown.
Yeah.
And now this year, here they are in the pinnacle of all matchups in Memorial Stadium in just year 3 of being a program. You have to give credit where credit's due to head coach Justin Haberman. But once again, the success across all other sports. The girls soccer team has won state titles not only in 2025, but also in 2024. Baseball just won it in 2025 last May. Girls basketball was the state Class B runner-up in 2025. I mean, this has been a program that quickly has burst onto the scenes in Class B action. Now, on the other side, though, for the Waverly Vikings, like I mentioned a few moments ago, haven't won a title since 1980, a game where they beat McCook 14-7 to hoist the Class B crown. They haven't been in a state championship game in football since then. They've been in one prior to that in 1975, but they got shut out to the Pius X Thunderbolts 27-0 back about 50 years ago. And so, I mean, once again, you look at what the Waverly Vikings can accomplish tonight so far. They've passed all of the tests that's been in front of them. Teams like Bennington beat teams like Norris, teams like Seward, and Scott Catholic. I mean, they have knocked off and they have handled everybody in the fashion that they're supposed to, and now they have one more test.
Yeah, they came up through the ranks and lost to some teams in the past, and then they were able to kind of slay their giants, each step by step this season. So when you're undefeated, they've taken the hard road, a lot of one-score games, but they've been closely contested. So they feel like they're battle-tested, whereas the Gretna East Griffins feel like they've dominated everybody throughout the season. So something's got to break. Two big, physical, good-looking teams. Obviously, you have to be dedicated and invested to be a part of their football programs, and it's showing out here tonight. And it's really good to see two teams that have, I wouldn't say came out of nowhere, but definitely have came from the hard road to being out here for the state championship.
And a couple of familiar names for you and I, Jay. Some guys, a player, a notable name has actually left Lincoln program and joined Waverly, and that's Broxton Tepley, the quarterback for the Vikings. But in the backfield, the name you need to know is Nathan Axman. On the year, Axman has absolutely been a monster, rushed for over 1,700 yards and 25 touchdowns, and he's doing it with a large workload, 25 carries a game. In their semifinal win against Bennington, a game they won 38-18. We always talk about it. You need players, not as much plays. He carried the ball 42 times.
Yeah, you like it when you need your best players to be able to step up and answer the bell at the biggest time. And Mr. Axman has done that, and that's what you expect to see tonight. And you can't run the ball if you don't have a good offensive line. More importantly, a very efficient offensive line that doesn't have a lot of false starts or obviously illegal procedure penalties. So they're well-coached teams, strength on strength. When you're looking at it, Nick, just looking at Gretna and then obviously Waverly, both of these programs have grown at the steady rate, right, where they've developed guys and probably brought kids out of different sports onto their football program. Look at the amount of the kids on the sidelines right there. That's how you build a program from the ground up. And so this is going to be a great matchup tonight. I've been waiting for it all day.
All right, we're just a couple minutes away. We're going to pause, take a break for the national anthem here in Memorial Stadium as the sun, what there was, has completely set, and it's now a chilly night to close out night number 1 of state championship football. We'll step aside here on 93.7 The Ticket.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Attention, Nebraska sports fans. Are you ready to take your skills to the next level? The Army National Guard is looking for leaders who are dedicated, driven, and ready to make a difference. Join up and gain invaluable experience while serving your country with a flexible schedule, competitive benefits, and a chance to build a strong future. Learn more at nationalguard.com/Nebraska. Live here, serve here. The Nebraska Army National Guard. Guard the good life. If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals, and get your lift on with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Welcome back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Memorial Stadium, the site for the Class B state championship matchup, Waverly versus Gretna East. It's as chalk as it can get. Number 1, Waverly. Number 2, Gretna East. The Griffins come in with an 11-1 record. Waverly undefeated, unblemished, 12-0 mark on the campaign. Gretna East, they will receive to begin the first half and to begin the ball game, and we are underway. Gretna East in their bright gold helmets that shine here off of the lights at Memorial Stadium, white jerseys, yellow accents, and the gold pants for the Griffins. For the Waverly Vikings, maroon helmets with the W on each side, the black jerseys, black pants, white numbers with the Waverly Vikings name scripted across their chest in white lettering outlined by the maroon as well. We are ready to go. Waverly going to kick towards the south end zone. 46 degrees here at kickoff. The wind, not even a factor, but it's officially 4 miles to the north. Waverly, as we get ready to go, the official has not given the signal quite yet. There's an official standing by the tee. There's an official standing by the return man for Gretna East. We saw a couple of high-scoring games the last 2 games of the day. Now this one, we expect a lot of ground and pound, traditional, conventional style of football. Here at Memorial Stadium, Waverly fans decked out in the black, while Gretna East, there's speckles of gold, black, and white. Good student section representing each school here today.
Here we go.
The signals have been given, and we are about ready to kick things off here at Memorial Stadium. The white hat on the south end zone tells the kicker it's go time, and we are underway as boot meets leather here at Memorial Stadium. Class B title game. It's fielded by a returner up the right side, has a little bit of running room, and across the 25-yard line goes the return man, number 2, Caleb Tessmer, the sophomore, and we get to look at this Gretna East offense for the first time today. Quarterback Chase Grau, a dual threat. He's thrown for over 1,100 yards this year, 12 touchdowns through the air, but also has ran for 750 yards on the campaign and has scored 12 rushing touchdowns this season.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted offense. Obviously, you have a quarterback that's a dual threat, and they have a really good running attack, but they are not afraid to put it in the air early in the game to set up that run game late, Nick.
So here we go, 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line, and they hand it off to the running back on the first play of the game, and immediately met by a couple of Vikings defenders is number 26, Connor Sams, the senior running back.
Yeah, Connor Sams got stuffed up the middle, but they're okay with that because they feel like they can lean on their running game late in the game. They're trying to test out this first couple series. Unless something big opens up, is kind of just testing each other out, getting into the prize fight because these guys don't have a lot of experience playing against each other. 2nd
down and 9 from the 27-yard line. Grau with it in the shotgun. Back to pass. First time passing today. Passes out into the flat on the right side. Passes hauled in, but taken down for a loss of 3 yards is number 7 for Gretna East. There is Carson Herman. Herman, a standout baseball player. He's lined up as the tight end on that play. Took a pass out in the far side flat and lost 3 yards to make it 3rd down and 12. And if you're the Waverly Vikings, a big chance to get off the field and force a 3-and-out here.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Gavin McMillan out there in the flat for a tackle for loss, tackling a tough running back in space. But one thing that jumps off right now off the field is the energy that this Viking defense plays with.
10:45 to go, first quarter. Herman in motion, and we have a whistle. And did they throw a flag? They did. They threw a flag on Gretna East here. It's going to be a false start on 3rd down and 12, and so that's going to make it even more difficult for this Griffins offense.
Yeah, the Griffins offense is struggling a little bit. Obviously, when you've had success, like they've had throughout the playoffs and beating everybody by high double digits, you're facing a pretty good defense here in Waverly that have grown up together and played together. A very senior-laden team. Tough physical front 6 or 7 guys that have a lot of speed and length to offset this power by Gretna East.
10.5 minutes to play, opening quarter, Class B title game. 3rd and 17 after the false start. Shotgun snap, looking left, looking, still surveying as Grau will take off and run with it. He won't get the first down anywhere close to it. He gets about 3 yards on the scramble. He wanted to give himself up and then kind of decided at the last minute to just absorb the hit. But nonetheless, Grau and the Gretna East offense go 3-and-out, and they're going to have to punt it on 4th and 13.
Yeah, for Waverly, this game can't start any better than that. 3 quick plays, 3-and-out, less than 2 minutes off or a little bit over 2 minutes off the game clock, and you're going to probably get the ball with 2 returners back here and punt returner in favorable position. So Waverly is trying to impose their will by their defense, and obviously their running game is coming off the sidelines here pretty quickly.
So Gretna East to punt from inside their own 20-yard line. Axman and McElhose is back deep for the Waverly Vikings. It's a fairly short punt. It's on the other side of the 50-yard line. I believe that touched a Waverly player, and if it did, Gretna East recovers it. We're waiting for an official signal from the 2 referees as they convene. The Griffins seem to think that it touched a coverage man. It did not. The official signal is that Gretna East touched it first, and Waverly dodges a bullet right off the bat.
Yeah, sometimes when you start so fast defensively, you relax a little bit. Let's see if we get a replay here, either on the big screen or up here in the booth. But, Waverly is a well-coached team, and I know the special teams coordinator is not going to be too happy. You probably had a Peter call. That means everybody gets away from it. Sometimes you get too relaxed, and it could bounce off. You never want to start a game like we saw in the Wynot game with a turnover. It can come back to bite you. At the end, it looks like
it doesn't look like it touched anybody. So on the replay, if anything, it touched the Gretna East coverage guy, who was number 2. That was Caleb Tesmer in coverage. And so they do have replay, as we experienced in the earlier game. They do have a replay available here at Memorial Stadium. But nonetheless, it is a good call on the field, it appears. And Waverly will take over on offense, 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line. Waverly led on offense by Nathan Axman. Axman, 1,700 rushing yards on the year, and he's lined up on the right hip of Broxton Tepley. They turn, hand it off, why not? Right to Axman. He gets stood up in the backfield. Nathan Axman loses 2 on first down. A fumble is on the play, and it's recovered by Gretna East.
Yeah,
and so as much as we thought that they might have recovered it on the punt, they get it on first down, and Gretna East takes over inside the Waverly 35.
Yeah, Gretna East's defense said, you know what, we're not going to back down to this Waverly Viking defense. We're going to come and show you we can impose our will on your best player. big defensive stop right there. Not only stopping them for a tackle for loss, but getting the ball out. That was a physical play. That wasn't ripping the ball out. That was a force of nature hitting another force, and Gretna East had a little bit of force there.
Gretna East playing their best football as of late. They're outscoring their opponents in the playoffs by 23 points while averaging 46 themselves. They hand it off on first down here after the Nathan Axman fumble, and they get about 3 yards forward up to the 30-yard line of Waverly. Still scoreless in the Class B title game with 9:11 remaining.
Yeah, Waverly's just felt like they were dominating in defense, and then they got it back, and the first play, it's a sudden change. So now their defense has got to step up and try to keep Gretna out of field goal range. More importantly, don't give up a touchdown here. And so this could be the first break for Gretna getting used to this championship style of football in their third year of existence here in the Memorial Stadium.
2nd down and 8 from the 30. Back to pass, Grau looking, surveying, throws it right side, has a receiver inside the 10. It's hauled in, trying to lunge in. It's a touchdown. Gretna East, Seth Kragel on the 30-yard reception. Touchdown, Griffins.
Yeah, that was a good pass there by Grohl, and a really good catch there by the receiver. A deep over route. That's the theme. We saw it last game with Why Not, and now we've seen it here in Class B Championship. It's hard to cover when a receiver is running away from you when you're a defender, and it was on the money. Big-time pass there for Chase Groh. Even a better catch there by Seth Kragel. This is how you end up beating teams by high double digits throughout the playoffs and sometimes 20-plus points, is you take advantage of any mistakes that your opponent makes. You play tough defense, and you stick to your game plan. Gretna East is the first one to strike blood.
So once again, the Gretna East Griffins are able to make the extra point, and with 8:37 to go, they turn the Nathan Axman fumble into a touchdown. They lead at 7-0 over Waverly here, still in the early goings of this one. Here from Memorial Stadium. Let's step aside, come back in 30 seconds on 93.7 The Ticket.
Your possibilities are endless at Doane University. Rooted in liberal arts, you can choose from undergraduate and graduate programs, all delivering real-world experience. At Doane University, we take a personal approach to education, giving you the guidance you need to own your future. It's not just our long history of innovative learning, it's the feeling of being surrounded by possibilities that makes us different. Now is your time. Apply today at doane.edu/apply.
Now back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is 8 minutes and 37 seconds left on the clock in the first period here. 7-0 your score. Gretna East out in front of the Waverly Vikings. Waverly coming in undefeated. Jay, I would imagine, I would almost, put some money on it that when we see Waverly's offense come back out onto the field, you're going to see Nathan Axman get a carry again.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, he's brought him here, and obviously he's been their bell cow, and it's too early in the game to put them in the shelf or to really change your game plan, and so they're going to go get right back to it. They feel like they can run the ball against this Gretna East defense. We will see. You only had one play. And unfortunately for Waverly, it was a turnover, but also they're able to throw it too when they need to. And so it's early in the game. You got to get into your game plan, and then you got to stick to it. And obviously Gretna got 7 points, and now you got to go answer and try to get some points on the board yourself.
So Gretna East will kick off towards the north end zone. It was essentially, this is the way the game was meant to start anyway. If you're Waverly, now granted, you got to stop defensively, but Waverly kicked off, and, obviously Gretna East got the first possession of the game. They then went 3 and out, almost got a fumble recovery on the punt, then ended up getting a fumble recovery on the first play for Waverly on offense. So in a way, Waverly, no harm, no foul. This can essentially be looked at as your first offensive possession of the game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you don't want to give them 7 points via a turnover after the first play. You actually did what you needed to do, is get off the field, but a little bit of the details probably maybe slipped through the cracks, and maybe that's a wake-up call this Waverly Vikings team and obviously offense needs with the early turnover. And sometimes you can get out to a big lead, and this isn't a big lead, but get out to a lead and think you can coast, where Waverly will be motivated by that mistake and turn it up a notch.
So here we go. Waverly back out there, 1st and 10 after the touchback from their own 20-yard line. 1st and 10 from their own 20, still middle stages of the first quarter. Axman with the carry. Gretna East swallows him up after he gains about 3 yards up the middle. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 7 with 8.5 to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was just a play up the middle. It's 11-12 gut just to trying to see if they can move the big man in the middle for Gretna East. Didn't have much going there, but it's a 3 or 4 yard gain. So to settle down the team, right, to see something positive going on after a 3-yard carry by their best player, Axman, they can get into their offense here, 2nd and 3rd down.
So 2nd down and 7 officially. From the 23-yard line, Waverly takes the snap. They toss it right side. Axman with a hole up the right side, just outside the numbers, and gets taken down past the line to gain. It is a gain of 8 on 2nd down. He needed 7, so move the chains. 1st and 10 for the Vikes.
So that's what you like right there if you're a Waverly Viking fan, and obviously as the team, you want to get it to Axman. You got man-on-man blocking. You were able to reset the edge, and then obviously you gave it to your best player to get the 1st down. So now they feel like they're in rhythm. Feel like they can try to keep this Gretna East Griffin defense off balance. Now you see them here. They come out with no backs. They're trying to soften up this defense until they really get into the ground and pound.
Waverly Vikings 1st and 10 from their own 36. Snap back, quick pass, far side. Axman on the reception. He stiff arms one defender and gets up near the 44-yard line or so. He'll be a few yards shy of the line to gain. It's a gain of 7 officially. It's out of bounds at the 43. 2nd down and 3 coming up.
Right. You mentioned before, they were going to feature Axman and they're going to feature him in the conventional run game. And then they got him out there in a bubble screen, try to get him one-on-one with any defender from Gretna East. They feel like they have the advantage. Might not pay dividends early in the game. They're banking on it to pay dividends later in the game.
2nd down and 3 from the 43-yard line. Got to get to the 46 here in the shotgun set. It's Tepley. Tepley with Axman to his right side. 4 down linemen for the Gretna East defense. Back to pass. Tepley looking left side in double coverage. Did he thread the needle? He did, but it was unable to be hauled in by the receiver up that far sideline. That was intended for number 0, Gavin McMillan, the junior wideout. And Waverly there on 2nd and short. Why not? Take a shot. And now you have 3rd and 3 with one of the best running backs in the state.
Yeah, that's a confident throw there and almost a really good catch there by McMillan, who had made a really good defensive play in the first series right off the fingertips. But they like that matchup, him against a hybrid linebacker. He's a big, strong, fast athlete. Maybe he can come down with it next time.
3rd and 3, shotgun formation. They fake the handoff to Axman. Getting pressure from the right side is Tepley. Unable to be tripped up. He's going to scramble for the 1st down and thrown out of bounds at the Waverly sideline up into Gretna East territory at the 42-yard line.
Tepley sneaky smooth there in the pocket. Looked like he was going to get sacked, and look at him. He slithered right there, stepped up there, and then outran the competition or Gretna East to the sideline. Took a big hit there before he got there, so you better make sure he has his awareness good because he's going to get thrown off into the black. But nevertheless, those off-schedule 1st downs that you can get as a quarterback, I think is more dangerous than a run-first type of quarterback. And so that's it's something that you need to soften up the defense and slow down this pass rush of Gretna East.
1st and 10 from the Griffins 42. They hand it off. Axman left side on the carry, gets a nice gain of about 5. Axman's just a big-bodied running back, listed at 6 feet, 190 pounds. Might be a little bit heavier than that because he is tough to bring down. But then on top of that, it seems like even if you stop him for a pretty good, limit of yards, it's still 4, 5, 6 yards on 1st down.
He does a good job of continuing to lean forward after contact, and obviously they do a really good job up front. You don't see a lot of missed assignments, and so he's able to pick the holes and is pretty consistent blocking.
Here he goes again as he's immediately met and tackled after a short gain by number 18, Jackson Godfrey, the senior linebacker for Gretna East, but it gets another 2 yards or so on 2nd down to bring up 3rd down and 3 in this rather quickly moving first quarter. 5:45 remaining in the opening period here at Memorial Stadium. Class B title game, 3rd down and 3 coming up from the Gretna East 35-yard line for the Waverly offense, down 7-0.
Here we go. They know this is big on big here. He's going to run it right up the middle.
They'll turn, hand it off. Axman follows 2 blockers, and he's taken down from behind, but not until he gets plenty of yardage for the 1st down up across the 30-yard line to the Gretna East 27, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings offense here with 5:24 to go.
One thing about this Waverly running attack is they do a really good job out there on the edges blocking and creating space for Axman. And one thing he does as well, he has really good balance, Nick. When he gets hit, he doesn't get jolted, and he keeps going forward. He keeps his legs moving. Strong athlete and a really good running back.
Axman lined up to the left hip. They have two tight ends, flex on the left side. They're going to run that way. Axman following the blockers. A lot of room along that edge, and he gets knocked out of bounds after a 12-yard gain inside the 20 at the 15. Nathan Axman responding well after he fumbled on his first carry of the game, and now the Waverly offense is in the red zone, 1st and 10 from the Gretna East 15.
Yeah, Waverly's doing a really good job of overtaking the edge there of Gretna East. And then obviously allowing Axman to pick and choose whether he wants to cut it up real quick or extend it towards the sideline. They are trying to overtake this team with their physical prowess up front.
1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. Inside the red zone is the Waverly offense. They turn, hand it off. Axman again. He meets a wall of Griffin defenders up on that left side as they tried to run it to the left side.
Yeah.
We've seen Waverly run more to the left side than to the right tonight. They've done it a few times to both, but obviously they feel something good about that left side of that Griffin's defensive front.
Yeah, one thing that you want to look at, Nick, is the type of run blocking that they're doing. They're giving this Gretna East defenders every type of blocking scheme known to man up front to kind of maybe confuse them, but they're executing them at such a high level. That's why his running attack is so efficient and good.
And on this 2nd down and 8 play, they're going to keep it with Axman, and the Wildcat immediately taken down in the backfield for a loss of 6 yards all the way back at the 19-yard line. They lined Axman up in the Wildcat. He was going to take it off the right side in a power run, Jay, and they immediately met him in the backfield for a loss of a lot.
Yeah, that was sometimes when you go get cute and try to get into the Wildcat too far away from the goal line, that's what happens. What did I say? The cadence, the timing gets thrown off a little bit, even though it's been effective at different times during the year. They had to pay the price there because the Griffins had a blitz coming from the slot there. They didn't have a blocker for him.
We'll probably have to see Tepley's arm here on 3rd down and 14 from inside the 20 at the 19. Looking left side, has one-on-one coverage, over the shoulder catch, touchdown Waverly. Gavin McMillan in one-on-one coverage. A beautiful throw by Broxton Tepley, and the Vikings are an extra point away from tying it up.
Yeah, great throw by Tepley. Even better catch there by Gavin McMillan. I talked about him on defense, and obviously he almost had the one-handed catch earlier in the drive, but it paid off dividends. You drop it over there, back shoulder, kind of fade. Look at that, high points the ball. That's actually good coverage, but an even better throw and catch. 1 point away or one extra point away from the game being tied. We're in for a doozy, Nick. These are two well-coached teams. They're going to make adjustments. Everybody thinks adjustments happen at halftime. The Griffins on defense are going to make adjustments in between series, and then obviously the Waverly Vikings are going to do the same or had to do the same potentially for their defense as well.
The extra point is good for Waverly, and we are all tied up at 7 apiece. 3 minutes, 30 seconds to play in the first quarter, and we are tied up at 7 here in the Class B state championship game. A beautiful throw on a 19-yard pass from Broxton Tepley to Gavin McMillan. It capped off a 12-play, 80-yard drive that took 5 minutes and 7 seconds off the clock. And, Jay, that is a Waverly type of drive if we've ever seen one. A really fundamentally strong, strategic, and methodical, to your point, drive down the field to answer a Gretna East touchdown.
When you know you're physical, you just stay with being physical, right? You know, they had the fumble the first play, came right back, had a 3-yard gain the next one, boom, there goes the 8-yard, and they just stuck to it. There was a couple times where the Griffins just made a 6-yard tackle for loss. Next thing you know, they say, okay, well, you know what, we'll have to pass it. We'll put it to McMillan where we feel like he's a matchup problem for everybody you have on defense. So these are two well-coached teams, but Waverly, the big strength of that offensive line. They're not just big maulers. They can move when you're pulling, trapping, zone blocking, pin down. They're giving you everything underneath the sun to prepare for defensively.
Seth Kragel is back deep to receive this kickoff from Waverly, and he hauls it in at the 15-yard line. He's off to the races. He's reversing, watching some traffic, has one open up along the near sideline. Here goes Kragel across midfield, lowers the right shoulder. He's into enemy territory and finally taken down inside the 40 at the 39-yard line of Waverly. And so Gretna East and Chase Grau, the quarterback, right back in business.
Hey, look, they've been playing on the short field except for the first drive all night long, and it's all because of Waverly Vikings, special teams mistakes. Now, they didn't get the ball on the potential touching their punt returner, but on the kickoff, It was a middle return, and the outside guy squeezed too much, didn't keep a track on the high side of the returner. Outside he goes, a big return. When you just get the momentum you cannot give it immediately back by making a mistake by yourself.
Just kind of too much congestion in the middle, and a nice job by Craigle to be able to bounce it out near side. Here's a handoff. First play from scrimmage on the drive into number 25, Abram Crosby's lap. And Crosby goes forward for a couple of yards. That is number 26, Connor Sams, rather. And it'll be 2nd down and 7 coming up from the 36.
Yeah, when you think about that big return, Nick, it's not just the momentum and you get to flip the field. Now Gretna East is playing offense with no pressure. And so if I'm the Waverly Vikings, we have to tighten up the little things because we've been, self-inflicted wounds, giving up 7 points and potentially a big return.
Quarterback keeper here with Grau. He runs it left side, goes nowhere. May have even barely gotten back to the line. No, gain of 2 on the play, they're going to call it, up to the 34-yard line to make it 3rd down and medium. 3rd down and, 6 officially to go for the Gretna East Griffins offense. 2:25 to play in the first quarter. We're tied at 7.
Yeah, right now you're seeing this Waverly Viking defensive line, control the line of scrimmage and do a really good job there on Connor Sams and obviously on Chase Grove. But what they haven't done is stop the big play. So now it's 3rd down. I think Chase Grove can throw the ball better than people give him credit for. Look for him to try to go big up top here, top of the field here.
Shotgun formation for Grove. Sams is lined up behind him. 2 wideouts, far side, 1 to the near side. And we have a whistle before the snap on 3rd down. And I believe Gretna East called a timeout. Delay a game.
Yeah. So that's the first penalty right there. That's worked in, obviously, for Waverly Vikings' favor, right? So now you gave up the big return. Now you're 3rd and 10. Now you're trying to play the field possession game. Now you don't know whether the Griffins have a really good kicker or not. He kicked every single kick on kickoffs out of the end zone. So now the Waverly Vikings have got to think, we got to keep him to 4 yards or less, so they have to kick a long field goal or potentially punt it.
3rd down and 10 from the 39. Grow tosses it left side. Sams unable to escape the tackler. Great job defensively by number 50. There he is, Gavin Ruskamp.
Yeah.
And Ruskamp able to stop Sams at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be 4th down and 9.
Ruskamp did an excellent job scraping over top and going out there and making a tackle in space on Sams to stop any chance to getting that 1st down. I think they might have got a yard or maybe lost a yard. It's 4th and 9. That was a big play there by Ruskamp. When you have to scrape over top, beat the offensive tackle's block, and make a tackle in space, that's a pretty hard job.
4th and 9 coming up. Snap back to Grow. Back to pass. Looking. Steps up in the pocket. Throws downfield into coverage. Pass tipped away. Almost intercepted. But it falls and hits the turf, and nonetheless, Waverly takes over on downs.
Yeah, that's exactly where they want it. When I was talking about the mindset on 3rd down as a defender, you want to say we want to keep them where they have to do something that they normally don't want to do, and then you force them into an air throw that Gavin McMillan will probably come down with 9 times out of 10. It would have been a great start to his championship game. Touchdown, couple tackles for loss, an interception, but they'll take the ball here on about the 38-yard line. So the big return didn't hurt him, but you can't live this way in a championship type of game, giving up big returns and obviously turnovers as soon as you get the ball.
So Broxton Tepley, after finding McMillan for a touchdown reception last drive, they take over 1st and 10 at their own 39, and they run it up the middle with Axman, first play from scrimmage, and he goes nowhere. No gain on the play, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Gretna East has a different defensive line group right there that sometimes goes both ways, but a really good job there making Waverly do something that they don't want to do. They had to make a decision early in that conventional run game where Axman had to make his move in the backfield. There was too many defenders. So what they're trying to do now here, Nick, what their adjustment was in between series, they're trying to penetrate when they know that Waverly is going to run the ball.
2nd down and 9. They gave Axman a yard on that 1st down carry, but essentially there's now going to be 2nd down and 14 because it looked like the left guard, number 62 for Waverly, Tate Fanning, he jumped early.
Yeah, a little bit of big game jitters, and everybody goes through it. But also, when you think about this, Nick, is that now we just talked about Waverly getting that bonus penalty right there where they're able to get Gretna in a compromising position. Now they give it right back. So now you're looking at 2nd and 14. Yes, you can run Axman, but do you throw it on 2nd down? If you don't get a significant gain, then you have to essentially have a throwaway run, and you gave away that field position that you gained back.
2nd and 14, back to pass. It's a screen play caught by Axman. He has a lot of running room up the middle. Reverses course, bounces off a defender, still on his feet, across the 40, still on his feet. There goes Axman inside the 30 and finally taken down. And Axman is tackled inside the 30 at the 27-yard line of Gretna East. A dump-off screen up the middle of the field, Jay. Maybe there's a more technical name for it, but with 31 seconds to go in the first quarter, it's 1st and 10 Waverly.
Yeah, it was a middle screen. He ran a little bit. We used to call it an angle screen where you let the defenders kind of rush the quarterback. Really good timing, good catch, went over the nose guard, caught it. The best thing about it, made somebody miss. The balance that I'm talking about right there, big hit. He absorbed it, stays on his feet, gains 15 to 20 more yards.
Waverly firmly in business after the conversion on 2nd down and long, 1st and 10 from the 27. They turn, fake the handoff, quick pass out near side. It's hauled in by the receiver, and a great defensive stop by 2 Gretna East Griffin defenders. And now finally taking him down, the receiver on the play, Carson Malcolm. He was initially stopped by Michael Marriott, the junior defensive back, but it took a couple of Griffin defenders to finally bring him down.
Yeah, these Waverly Vikings are strong kids, and they do a really good job of blocking out on the perimeter and obviously in the interior offensive line as well. So they're trying to impose their will on all phases or all sides of the field or each level of the defense. And so we're in the 7-7 ball game. Waverly's trying to drive. Gretna East has got to make some adjustments.
We are at the end of the first quarter. Your score 7-7 as we turn our attention to the second period of play right after this here on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Now back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into high school football coverage on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sanders alongside Jay Foreman live from Memorial Stadium, Class B state championship matchup between Waverly and the Griffins of Gretna East. Here, Waverly, we're all tied up 7-7. We do have a quick stoppage in play as we are getting ready to start the second quarter of play. And heavy dose of Nathan Axman, which is what we expected. Already 10 carries on the day for Axman. He did fumble on his first carry, but since then has done really well. He just caught a large pass for 38 yards just a moment ago on a little screen up the middle of the field. So now Waverly will go towards the north end zone here at Memorial Stadium. Here comes Broxton Tepley out of the huddle, lined up in the shotgun. Tepley with Axman lined up to his left. One wide out, far side, 2 to the near side. Toss left side, it's Axman working his way inside the hashes, and he's finally tackled at the 20. Good tackle made on the play by number 37 for the Gretna East defense. Or excuse me, number 38 rather for the Gretna East defense, William Miles.
Yeah, they're gonna keep riding Axman all the way to hopefully to pay dirt, and he's effective in obviously running the ball inside and outside, but then also he can catch it out the backfield. So it gives a new quarterback in Broxton Tepley a lot of confidence. And then when they really want to stretch the field, they have McMillan. But really, one of the things they have to do, Nick, is they're gonna have to feature somebody else on offense. Because you got to think that Gretna East is going to make some adjustments here very soon.
They'll turn, hand it off to the fullback. That's number 50 for the Waverly Vikings as Gavin Rustkamp took the fullback carry up the middle, and he needed just a yard or two, and he got it. So 1st and 10 now coming up from the 16-yard line.
You know, the one thing that's a little bit different in the classes from Class B to maybe Class A is that if you can develop linemen and get a really good physical, obviously offensive, defensive line and lean on that running attack, you can really carve your path down here to Memorial Stadium because there's not enough size and student body numbers to hang with that.
Here is McMillan on the carry. He's going to trot in. Gavin McMillan scores his second touchdown of the game. This time it's on the ground, and Waverly takes a 13-7 advantage.
Yeah, McMillan did a good job right there. He's kind of like Axman. He got hit, kind of absorbed the body blow, and then he kept his balance, and then he was able to make somebody miss and scored. So right now it's Axman and McMillan really taking over this game. Watch this right here. He takes the initial hit, kind of hides, and bounces off, and there was an over pursuit there by the aggressive Gretna East defense.
So at 10:50 on the game clock, the point after will be attempted by Gavin Fowler. The kick is up, and the kick is good. 10:50 to go in the second quarter. It's 14-7 now. Waverly on top of Gretna East here in the Class B state championship game. Gavin McMillan, they came out once again in that traditional, that very strong, big I formation there with three running backs lined up behind Broxton Tepley, who's under center, and they just handed it off to the farthest back, allowed the blockers to do the job, and he trotted in for the score. Nice job by Gavin McMillan, who caught a nice pass from Broxton Tepley for the first touchdown for Waverly. This time he's able to run it in from 15 yards out. It caps off a 6-play, 62-yard drive. It took 2 minutes and 55 seconds off the clock, and Gavin McMillan scores to put the Waverly Vikings up by a touchdown. Waverly destroying Gretna East in terms of the total yards conversation, 145-40 to this point. Gretna East taking advantage of that short field after the turnover on the first play from Waverly's offense.
You know, Gretna East, their approach is, you know what, we can hit him over the top, which we've done right before with Craigle, but we have to find a way to get the conventional run game going. So whether that's grow, maybe doing some off-schedule running, we got to punch a hole in this Waverly Vikings defense because they are not moving out of their initial alignment when you see them line up. So that means whether you shift or motion, you got to get this team off balance or this defense off balance so you can get some explosive plays.
Here comes Seth Craigle on the return, trying to get it left side, is able to make one guy miss, makes two, now three guys miss, and then the cavalry of Waverly Vikings defenders in on the stop on the return for the Vikings squad on that sideline against the far sideline of the field. 14-7 your score, 10:38 to play in the second quarter.
Yeah, Waverly Vikings special teams took all the guesswork out of it. They decided, you know what, we've had two punts and two kickoffs down the middle. We haven't bowled so well. We're going to kick it to the corner and make you return it to the wide side of the field, and they let their speed and aggressiveness run them down. So now here comes this offense of Gretna East. So you got to really mix it up. And what I mean by being static, Nick, there's no motion, there's no shift. So that means for the Waverly Vikings defense that all these guys have played together for 2 or 3 years, know exactly what you're doing.
So Gretna East takes over 1st and 10 at their own 23. Pump fake by Groh. He throws off his back foot, gets hit as he throws, and it goes out of bounds. Did not have enough mustard on that one. There were two receivers somewhat in the area. Yeah. Nobody really had a great chance to come down with that ball, though.
Well, he was trying to hit number 4, Seth Kriegel, and they took that away. And that's what I mean. When you line up and show them exactly what you're doing, they'll be able to play to your tendencies. And then before he could really step into to his pass, Bo Wilkin was coming down the barrel and laid a pretty good hit there on Mr. Groh.
So once again, Chase Groh in the backfield. Then Connor Sams is also back there, the running back for the Griffins. One wide out far side, two to the near side, and there's a tight end flexed on the right side of that offensive line. There they turn. They hand it off. Connor Sams with the carry on second down. He goes nowhere. No gain, maybe 1 yard on the play to make it 3rd down and long, and Gretna East looking stagnant offensively.
Yeah, really good play there by Brady Scheifer, knifing down and getting Connor Sams before he could get started. When you see this right now, when you see how he's knifing down right there, there's no movement. So look how close the Waverly Vikings are playing to the line of scrimmage. Even at the safety position, they're number 0, McMillan, is not even 10 yards off the ball. They are sitting on every route. They are daring you to throw it. So if I was Gretna East, I would implement some crossing routes, some mesh routes to loosen this defense up.
Waverly showing blitz up the middle, and they get to the quarterback. Chase Groh goes down. Loss of 3 on the play, and Gretna East is going to have to punt this one right back to Waverly. they were going to run it with Groh. I'm not sure that this was necessarily a designed quarterback draw, but it was. So either way, not a whole lot going on the ground, especially for Gretna East. A real interesting play call there.
Yeah, Gretna East is, that was probably not their best series as far as the mesh of plays and obviously the continuity of plays. And they were trying to run Grow on 3rd and long, probably against his defense versus passing it. It gave you the same result. So they need to get back to the drawing board and find something that's going to work because this Waverly Vikings defense has a pretty good beat on what they're doing right now.
Here is the return for the Waverly Vikings. It's number 1, Zach McElhouse on the return. He gets all the way across the 50-yard line inside the 45 of Gretna East and out of bounds at the 43.
Yeah, good punt return there for Waverly. Now the first time for Waverly, they're getting at almost plus territory. So look for Waverly with Axman getting a little bit of a break with a couple different guys handling the ball to try to go up top to get a 2-score lead. And they feel like it's more than 2 scores with the ability for them to play defense and lean on the run game.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line for the Waverly offense. Axman is lined up to the right side of Broxton Tepley. Pass on 1st down, taking a shot downfield. It's a receiver. It's caught. Touchdown, Waverly. From 43 yards out, Connor Scherer is able to haul it in from Broxton Tepley for the score.
Yeah, Nick, like I said, you get it in plus territory the first time tonight, but there's, unfortunately for Waverly, there's a flag down there. I'm not sure where it gets maybe a late hit on the quarterback, but they're going to go up top, and because it's almost like a turnover or a big special teams return, which it was, that you get it this close and you can take a shot because 9 times out of 10 you can give it to Axman and get 10 yards off of 2 carries.
So we're waiting to hear the official word from the referees on what the penalty flag is. Justin Haberman on that Gretna East sideline doesn't seem too pleased with the explanation. The penalty marker, as Jay mentioned, is kind of in the vicinity to where Broxton Tepley was taken down. But nonetheless, it was a touchdown.
It was a quick pass, so I'm not sure. Oh, a taunting penalty.
So Broxton Tepley is going to be called for taunting.
He didn't like getting hit like that.
Yeah, the quarterback for Waverly flagged for taunting, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty there on Tepley, the junior quarterback. And so the touchdown will stand, but nonetheless, it will probably be ensued on the kickoff. It'll probably be affected on the ensuing kickoff.
Yeah.
And then Gretna East can hopefully use a short field if you're a Griffin supporter. So here we go. Gavin Fowler, the kicker. The snap is down. The kick is up, and it is good as well. So with 8:49 to go in the second quarter, Waverly leads it now 21-7, and Gretna East needs some answers here. Let's step aside, come back in 30 seconds here on 93.7 The Ticket.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Now back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
8 minutes, 49 seconds to go in the second quarter. Your score, Waverly 21, Gretna East 7. Here from Memorial Stadium, Class B State Championship. And Waverly, after the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, will now have to kick it off from their own 25-yard line instead of the 40-yard line. And so with that, Gretna East will hopefully be able to take advantage of some shorter field position.
Yeah, but what you're doing here is for Gretna East, you have to really, get a good drive going on here because you haven't really done anything positive in a positive manner offensively in almost over a quarter. And there's still 8 minutes left in the first half. And so you got to get some points, get a good drive here because you're going to get good field position. So that doesn't mean you get out of your sorts, but you got to get some running going. You can't just drop back and let them pin their ears back and try to kill your quarterback.
Short kick fielded just past the 30-yard line, and Gretna East is going to be taken down past the 40 as a physical tackle on that far sideline. The Waverly sideline starts to swarm and engulf the tackler on that sideline, and now Gretna East takes over 1st and 10 from the 40.
Ooh, that was a big tackle there by Kale Lade on the returner. Picked him up and almost Mark Manning, I don't know what you'd call that, a body slam from WWF, slammed him into the turf. This Waverly Viking team is big, physical, strong, nasty, and so Gretna East has really got to dig deep and get back into this game.
So once again, 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. Grow back. He turns, hands it off. Here's Sams, bounces outside, has a little bit of running room as Sams tries to get to the edge. Now cuts upfield, spins around, and is knocked down just on the numbers on the near side by number 50. Once again, Gavin Ruskamp. Here's his name called. It is 2nd down and 1 coming up. That's the first time that we've seen Connor Sams really be able to kind of get to the edge.
Yeah, Connor Sams got loose a little bit, was able to get the edge. Good job there, good blocking out there by number 7, Carson Herman. Setting the edge so Sams could get the corner. Now, what Sams needs to do is obviously just run and let go. I think Gretna East, they're playing a little bit too tight, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost trying to play too perfect. Just go out there and play football.
2nd down and 1. The handoff to Sams, and he is swallowed up in the backfield. Forward progress gets him a yard behind the line, but not much farther. And so now instead of 3rd and short, or now it's 3rd and 2 rather, instead of 3rd and 1.
Yeah, once again, there goes that man, number 50. He is making a heyday. He scored a touchdown and obviously has had numerous tackles. Gavin Ruskamp is all over the field tonight. Him and McMillan are taking over this game.
So now 3rd and 2, a crucial 3rd down as Waverly daring Gretna East to throw it over the top, and they turn, hand it off. Sams can't go anywhere. Jay, the more that Waverly wants, they just keep on loading closer to the line. The farthest defensive back was maybe 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, and it was on the far side of the field in coverage of a wide receiver. Everybody's playing so far up, and Gretna East continues to run right into the teeth.
Yeah, they're running right up in the middle where that's the strength of this defense. That's where Ruskamp and company are, and you see number 50 there and his buddies there. They knew that was going up the middle. And also, even if you're not shifting and motioning to throw the ball, you have to shift in motion to create better angles for yourself in the run game. Where you're just lining up and just trying to run at them, that's not going to happen. Oh,
and here on a 4th down fake punt, and it's going to be intercepted. Waverly is able to not only force a turnover, but instead of a traditional just going for it on 4th and 2, Gretna East decides to do a fake punt. It's an ill-advised decision, and now it's intercepted, not all the way back at the 20, but instead right at midfield.
Yeah, right there, Nick. When you're a defender and you have punt safe out there or your punt return, this is where you expect a fake punt. They're down by 2 scores, and they played right in hand. Good, Mr. Schaefer there got an interception there. Good play there by the Waverly Vikings.
So they turn now. Axman, here he goes up the middle. He gets swallowed, but not until he gets a gain of 13 across the 45-yard line to the 40. And my, oh my, Waverly is clicking.
Yeah, they're clicking, and they're also starting to wear down this Gretna East defense and this team because Axman has just so happened to get about 10 to 12 minutes of real-time rest. Now he's energized, and they're going to lean on these guys for the rest of the second quarter. And one thing you can't do, Nick, is try to get a 14-point score. Yes, the fake punt might have been a decent call, but I would have liked to seen you go. If you knew you were going to fake punt it, I want you to be extra aggressive on 3rd down. Really to actually soften up the mindset of your opposition versus being very conservative. They know you're going to go back to being aggressive. You bring your punt team on there. They were more than ready for that fake punt.
1st and 10, now a carry left side, and Axman gets 4 yards there to bring up 2nd down and 6.
Yeah, Gretna East guys also got to do a good job of keeping their composure. This is the first time they've been challenged in quite some time. They're playing a team that's undefeated and well suited to stay into their game, so they got to find themselves both mentally and physically.
And here comes Axman as he gets another big gain on 2nd down and 6. He needed 6 yards. He got about 15 on the play, and now it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. 5 minutes and 24 seconds to play in the second quarter. Waverly up 21-7 here in the second quarter in the Class B championship game, and they're on the doorstep of the red zone.
Nick, one thing I just noticed, Waverly is rotating offensive linemen. Okay, that's the depth of offensive linemen that they have. They're coming in, they're going their big house unit with a triple I, backfield, and they're trying to really just run over you. But they're rotating linemen, subbing in linemen, trying to wear out this Gretna East defense.
With 5:04 to go in the second quarter, we have a timeout on the field. Gretna East signals their first timeout of the matchup. We'll step aside with them for a legal ID and a 30-second break here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription, or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Welcome back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Senator Jay Foreman back with you as we have the big heavy-duty I formation as they turn, hand it off. Axman again on the right side. He just continues to barrel his way forward for this time a gain of 7 yards inside the 20 and down at the 19.
They are slowly but surely, Nick, just leaning on Gretna East and, we're really showing them that they are the big boys in Class B this year. And so it's a learning experience for them where you sometimes you get in these championship games and you don't wake up until the second half, and sometimes that's a little bit too late. And so what Gretna East has to do is just go out there and play football. I think they're playing way too tight, so it's not allowing them to play with enough force, and Waverly is running over these guys right now.
Here's Axman again as he's inside the 10, inside the 5, touchdown. From 18 yards out, Nathan Axman. He's done so much and finally gets rewarded in the form of a touchdown.
Yeah, he's starting to heat up. I think he had a little bit of a foot injury, ankle injury. He went over there and got his ankles taped up, came back, refreshed, re-energized, and made somebody miss in the hole, gave him a little bit of the dead leg. Watch this right here. Big hole, one-on-one with the safety coming from depth, run away from him. Big, strong run there. You're up by 20 points. More importantly, what the Gretna East defense needs is that offense on their sidelines to get it going. And as much as, the defense is having some problems with this Waverly rushing attack, more importantly, the Gretna East offense has not been able to do anything with that Viking defense. And sometimes, Nick, when you score early, like I said, you can think, oh, we got this. But you got to always expect your opponent to adjust. And Waverly Vikings have done just that.
4 minutes and 23 seconds remain here in the second quarter. Waverly leads 28-7. The Vikings have scored 28 unanswered. And my goodness, Gretna East, Jay, they're having a real heart-to-heart right now down on that Gretna East Griffin sideline. Justin Haberman gets them all huddled up into a circle. Now they disperse as they get ready for this kickoff. Waverly, I should say, receives the second half kickoff. Gretna East, they need points, and they need them now.
Yeah, so what that means is for people that are listening, you cannot be conservative. Now, you don't need to be reckless, but you can't be conservative. Now, you got some with Connor Sams getting into the edge, really some tosses and stuff like that. Running up the middle is not going to work. So you need to take that and probably put it on the shelf. Trying to get some intermediate pass games, then you can get a little bit aggressive when you get into take-a-shot areas. You got to get this defense moving. They are creeping up to the line. I've never seen a defense play this close to the line of scrimmage in a championship game from the very beginning, and then they're creeping up so much farther that they're letting you know that you can throw it over the top of them, but you got to make some plays, and you got to call the plays to give your players a chance to make those plays.
It's not as if Gretna East doesn't have guys on the perimeter that can certainly hold their own. Waverly certainly has players, but so does Gretna East, and that's why they're both here. So 28-7, your score as that kickoff will sail into the end zone for a touchback, and they'll get it 1st and 10 at their own 25. Will the Griffins here with 4:23 remaining in the first half of play from Memorial Stadium. Once again, it's been a heavy dose of Nathan Axman, but it's not even just Axman. It's been McMillan. He's got 2 touchdowns tonight. Broxton Tepley has done a really nice job commanding the offense. Now, he doesn't have to do a whole lot considering you have a guy like Nathan Axman in the backfield with you. But, man, there's a lot to be encouraged if you're a Waverly Vikings supporter.
You got McMillan, and then you have Connor Shearer. He got one as well. And so Gavin McMillan and Tepley will be back next year.
Yeah.
So, and Tepley or McMillan can play a little bit of running back as well.
Play action here as Groh steps up in the pocket, and he gets swallowed inside the 20-yard line. He loses a yard on the sack as Waverly brought pressure off the right side of that offensive line, and Groh was able to evade, step up in the pocket for that first guy, but then there was nowhere for him to go, and he just had to give himself up a yard behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, when you look at these splits here by the Gretna East wide receivers, they're so far away from the quarterback that you're letting the defense know what type of routes you're going to run, let alone you're not even challenging this defense from a vertical standpoint.
And now on this pass play up, 2nd down and 11, a wide open receiver. That was intended for Evan Smith on the far side, but now, Caleb Tesmer was the intended receiver on that far sideline. He just missed it. It hit both of his hands. He was wide open right at that line to gain, and instead of 1st and 10, it's 3rd and 11.
Yeah, sometimes when you see your defense getting bowled over, then it kind of makes you lose a little bit of confidence offensively. But you got to make those plays. Hopefully he gets another opportunity to make a play like that because he could have also broken a tackle and broke this game wide open.
3rd down and 11 from the 19. They need something. Quick pass. No, a reverse. Here's Sams up the left side. Has to beat one guy, has some opening. There goes Connor Sams across midfield. He has one man to beat. He reverses the way inside the 30. Tries to come to the near sideline. He gets tripped up inside the 30 at the 28-yard line. And can that finally spark the Griffins offense?
Well, that's what you need right there, Nick. A little bit of misdirection, calculated misdirection. Look like you're running outside zone, then you got it to your best playmaker. This is a good play design, even better execution. A little bit of delayed reverse there. Good job by Sands, hitting it on the run. Almost outran this Viking defense. Good job by the Vikings trying to stop him from a touchdown. But I like it. That's what you have to do. When you just line up and try to go at Waverly, it's not going to work out too well.
So now 1st and 10 from the Vikings 28. They turn, fake the handoff, back to pass Groh. He gets hit as he throws downfield, trying to hit his receiver in the end zone as it was intended for Carson Herman, unable to connect with him as we are under 3 minutes to play in the second quarter. 28-7 your score. The Waverly Vikings on top of Gretna East.
I like that play call. When you hit a big play, you want to come back and see if they're asleep at the wheel because sometimes you can get your dauber down defensively. Good job by the Waverly Vikings not giving up back-to-back explosive plays. So now the Griffins got to get back to what they do best, and I think it's the outside run. I think if you get their defense moving side to side, you can get the edge on them. But if you try to run up the middle, their free safety is at 5 yards.
Here's Groh, back to pass. Groh looking end zone, has Herman again, and out of reach again. He could have had 6, but he has 0 instead, and it's 3rd and 10 after the incomplete pass.
Yeah, he missed Seth Kriegel once again on the deep over route. He's telling him I was wide open. He had 2 steps on the Waverly Vikings defender, missed him, tried to get it to his other partner in crime, missed opportunity right there. And I think you might be in 4-down territory, Nick, depending on what you get on 3rd down, right?
3rd down and 10. Well, don't forget, near midfield, they went for it on 4th and 3 with a fake punt and did not get it. So 3rd down and 10. 2 minutes and 48 seconds to play in the second quarter. And before the snap on 3rd down, Justin Haberman on that Gretna East sideline wants to talk things over. We will step aside as well, come back in 30 seconds here on 93.7 The Ticket.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Now back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
2 minutes, 47 seconds remain here in the second quarter of play. Gretna East faces a 3rd and 10 as they have the ball at the Waverly Vikings 28-yard line, trailing 28-7 to Waverly. Here, Gretna East has it 3rd and 10 from the Vikes 28. Chase Grow in the pistol with a running back in Carson Sams behind him. Connor Sams, excuse me. They'll motion Kragel from top to bottom. Now they'll turn, fake the handoff, looking that way, still looking, gets pressured. You cannot take a sack. He dumps it off right side, pass is caught inside the 20. There he goes, inside the 10, spun around,
Touchdown.
Still on his feet. Touchdown, Gretna East. What an athletic play. Caden Annis, how about that? The senior wide receiver makes it a 28-13 ball game.
Really good job there by the quarterback, Gross, staying alive, stepping up, squaring his shoulders, dropping it off to Ennis. Ennis making 2 defenders miss and got the 6 points. I like it. Right back into it right before halftime.
A really nice job navigating that near sideline. I don't know how he stayed in, but he sure did. Great spin move at the 7, and he did the rest as he gets in that south end zone at the Memorial Stadium. And the point after is coming up in just a moment with 2:34 on the game clock.
That was a really good job there by Gretna East answering the bell. Sometimes when your back's against the wall and you're desperate, it brings out the best in you. So hopefully this can energize their whole sideline, more importantly, their defense, to withstand this rushing attack by the Waverly Vikings. So the offense has helped you out. Now it's the time for the defense to help themselves out as well.
You kind of have an idea that Waverly's going to come out and try to probably establish even more of a ground game with Axman, even with just 2.5 minutes to go until the halftime break. But Gretna East, if they can get a stop here, maybe get the ball back, who knows what you can get before halftime since you're not going to receive the opening kick. We're in danger zone if you're Gretna East of not potentially having the ball on offense until
30,
7 minutes. Yeah, 30, 40 minutes of real time, but really until the 7 or 8 minute mark at best in that third quarter, which is a long time for Grow, who just led a really nice drive to sit on the sideline.
Yeah, and that time becomes even more important, for Gretna East if you're not able to stop them defensively. If you're able to get a stop defensively and potentially another stop coming out of halftime, you feel like you have the momentum there. But it all starts right here. And what we've seen today, obviously in that Why Not game before, was against St. Mary's. Sometimes when you make a big play on offense or defense, then you turn right around and give up a big return on special teams. Let's see how Gretna East does here with a little bit of success here. Now you have it within a 1-score game or 2-score game, and a little bit of life here going into halftime.
Back deep for Waverly, number 4, Connor Shear, number 6, Crew Verkamp. And so we will see as the ball will be kicked off from the 40-yard line, what can Gretna East do? Maybe we see a short kick here, but also there's so much game left that no reason to force it and make things more difficult on you than they need to be.
Yeah, I think this is probably not the snapshot of Gretna East defense that we've probably seen all year, but this is the biggest challenge that they face, and so they got to kind of dig in and try to figure out what they're going to do. Big tackle there too.
On the return, number 29, that was Braxton Badman, the sophomore on the return. He fielded it with his back foot touching the goal line. Interesting decision to bring it out. He barely gets past the 12-yard line, tackled at the 13, and the ball will be placed on the 14-yard line. 1st and 10 coming up for the Waverly offense.
Good job there by Asher Robinson running down there, a true freshman or a freshman running down there on kickoff, a tackle inside the 20. Really good job there. And so a little bit of back-to-back validating that drive with a good special teams play. Let's see what this defense does now with their back against the wall, trying to defend against this high-powered offense.
They'll turn Axman the handoff. He has a big hole up the right side, has one man to beat. There goes Axman across midfield, across the 40. Right. He hesitates, now cutting back up the far sideline. Nathan Axman picking up right where he left off, and he gets a big gain on 1st down. But there's a penalty flag sitting back at the Waverly 27-yard line. And does Gretna East catch a break?
The Gretna East, and see, that's the only way that you're going to get that big run once again by holding us, because we had the momentum. But it's right in the vicinity, Nick, of holding, considering that Axman wasn't touched until he got tackled. So there you go, another cherry or another little present, early Christmas present for the Gretna East defense there, giving up a big explosive play when you'd like to try to shut them down there. Now you got them behind the chains. Now you know exactly what they're gonna do. You have to look for McMillan, right? You might have to roll your coverage to him, but you got to send more bodies and better tackling technique to try to stop this running attack of the Waverly Vikings, because they'll run it against a loaded box. They'll run it against an 8-9 man front and have been successful all night.
So after it's 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and it'll be 1st down and 8 coming up from the 16-yard line for the Waverly Vikings. One thing I will also mention, I mean, how good has Broxton Tepley through the first almost full first half been? 5 of 6 through the air, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Really nice start to the game for Tepley. The only blemish on his scorecard is that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for taunting. The toss right side. Axman gets stood up and dropped inside the 10-yard line. What a defensive play. Number 23 for the Gretna East defense, Will Holgrave.
Will Holgrave, the nephew of the great Quinn Holgrave that played with me at Nebraska. Big play there by Will. That's what you want, a tackle for loss. They had him behind the chains. Now you got him even farther behind the chain. Big play there by Gretna East. Now you got to look at timeouts now. If you get a good stop here on 2nd down, if you're Coach Haberman over there on the sidelines, you got to really try to extend this first half to get the ball back and give your offense another chance to get potentially 3 or 7 points.
1:23 to go in the second quarter. Now the only problem, Gretna East only has one timeout. Yes. And so with that, Waverly is going to let that one trickle all the way down to the end of the play clock. They'll call their timeout. And really, if the only problem is, let's just do basic math here. You run one more play. Let's say it takes 5 seconds off the clock. You can run another 40 seconds off the clock from that point. It's a tough, task if you're Gretna East. But nonetheless, okay, so let's not to move the goalpost, but let's change the goal, I suppose. And instead of our goal is to get the ball back and maybe score, your goal that is much more easy to accomplish, just force them to punt.
Force them to punt, go into halftime. It's a pretty long halftime in these championship games. I think it's a little bit over 20 minutes. You can make some really big adjustments, especially defensively and offensively, to be honest with you, for Gretna East, because I see some of their coaches over here. They already have the iPads, and hopefully they have notes that maybe they can make some adjustments to be more effective on both sides of the ball, because I think coming into the game, obviously, the Gretna East defense was probably a little bit better and more well thought of than what they've shown tonight. So they need to make some adjustments, whether it's technique, whether it's some of the calls, or maybe add another defensive lineman to their original defensive front to try to stop this running attack.
28-14 is your score. Here, 1 minute, 15 seconds to play. Is there any way that Waverly throws this ball? We'll find out. Broxton Tepley out of the Waverly timeout in shotgun. They turn. They hand it off. Axman. He bounces right side, heading towards that boundary, and he stays in bounds. And that's a very key part of this thing for the for the Waverly offense. He stays in bounds, gets a nice gain of about 9 on that play to make it 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, there's no way they wasn't going to run it. Now they're going to run it again and see if they can get an explosive play before they burn another timeout, or the Waverly Vikings be more than happy to go into halftime with a 14-point lead.
So 44 seconds shows on the clock, 15 on the play clock. You can probably take this one down to about 30 to 29 seconds left before Waverly will call another timeout. Instead, they're going to sit on that far side. And no, Gretna East has to burn a timeout. They didn't have enough players on the field. So Gretna East just gave Waverly a gift.
Yeah, but now that would change my mindset. If I'm Waverly, I might try to just throw it deep because, what do you got to lose? And so it's 27 seconds left. It's 3rd and more than, 4 or 5. And so now it comes down to how do you want to go into halftime. You don't want to be too confident or maybe cocky if you're Waverly. Try to throw it, get a pick and pick 6 versus now Gretna East. Now you got to really play time management, because now you really just gave them a gift here. So you have to be wary of them being over aggressive and trying to go in by 3 scores and then get it again after halftime.
So once again, the Waverly Vikings came into this one winning in overtime against Seward 30-24. Then they beat Bennington in the semis 38-18, while on the other side of the bracket, Gretna East, the 2 seed, doubled up Omaha Skutt in the quarterfinals before dominating their city partner, Gretna, 55-34 in the semis 2 weeks ago. And now on 3rd down and 5, Waverly, is just going to kneel this one down and be content with going into the locker room up by 14. Waverly leads it 28-14 here at Memorial Stadium. For the halftime show, we will send it back to Harrison Arns in our 93.7 The Ticket studios, just 2 blocks south of where we are at, as he will take you through the halftime break before sending it back out to Jay and myself here at Memorial Stadium. We're at the break in the Class B state championship matchup. Waverly leads Gretna East 28-14 here at the break on 93.7 The Ticket.
A business's phone is the lifeline to its customers and potential clients. That's why it's so important that you can take calls seamlessly from anywhere, whether you're on the road or in the office. Hamilton Business Technologies can help ensure your phone rings wherever you are. We can equip your headquarters and any of its locations with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we know how to keep Nebraska businesses connected. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Attention Nebraska sports fans. Are you ready to take your skills to the next level? The Army National Guard is looking for leaders who are dedicated, driven, and ready to make a difference. Join up and gain invaluable experience while serving your country with a flexible schedule, competitive benefits, and a chance to build a strong future. Learn more at nationalguard.com/Nebraska. Live here, serve here. The Nebraska Army National Guard. Guard the good life.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first. Now is the time to get a glimpse into living and learning at Doane University through a personalized in-person or virtual visit. We know once you experience Doane, you'll see why it's a place where you can achieve your goals and shape your future. Schedule your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit.
All right, welcome in to the 93.7 Ticket Studios. Harrison Arns back here, like Nick Sander, Jay Foreman, still only a couple blocks away here from Memorial Stadium as they are in some Class B state football action. And we'll kind of go through a rundown of what we've all seen in the playoffs and in the state championship games so far. But don't forget, we'll be back at it tomorrow. We got 3 more games. We got Class C1, Class C2, Class A, all those games tomorrow as well, and we will certainly preview those. But before we get there, let's go ahead and talk about the champions that we've had already today. The first one going out to Sandy Creek. They have a very dominant win. They win it by 40, 6-6 over 26 over number 5 Crofton. And you really haven't had much quote-unquote shock matchups in these playoffs so far. The only one is the one that we have going on right now. Number 1 Waverly and number 2 Gretna East. And that one, like I said before, left half, Waverly leading at 28-14. And then also the other game that we had was number 4 St. Mary's versus number 6 Why Not. Really high scoring affair in this one. For a while there, it looked like Why Not might come short, make a miraculous play, getting a touchdown while on your butt. You have to go back and listen to Nick Sander, Jay Foreman's call on that one. You guys go on YouTube, or I wouldn't be surprised if those clips are already floating around social media. But like I said, Why Not wins at 71-60 over St. Mary's. And currently we're at the half between number 1 Waverly and number 2 Gretna East. And like I said, Waverly is currently leading that one 28-14. And you got to credit Gretna East there. It did feel for a bit that Waverly's run game was going to be a little bit too tough to stop there. And they showed some stuff at the end there, getting some really good stops. And also offensively, after struggling for felt like quite a bit, you go for the fake punt. You throw an interception. Waverly's able to get it 50, but they're finding ways to respond. The wide receiver made a phenomenal play to get it to that 14 score where he might have broken 3 or 4 tackles. It was absolutely incredible. And for those asking on YouTube here, we got some people want to know what time the game is. Well, game's going on right now. It's currently halftime. The fellas should join you back around that 8:44 mark. So if you're here for the Gretna East versus Waverly, be sure to stay tuned. Around 8:44, should be back down there at Memorial Stadium with Nick Sainert and Jay Foreman. Tomorrow, we still got 3 games. You got number 1 Wahoo versus number 3 Sydney. That is a 10:15 a.m. kickoff, Class C1. And then on Tuesday, these are all tomorrow, Tuesday. Next game, 2:45 p.m. That is Class C2, and that would be between number 4 Grand Island Central Catholic versus number 2 Bishop Newman. And then the last game of our coverage of high school state football championships will be 7:15 p.m. Class A action. You got number 4 Millard South versus number 3 Papillion La Vista. That being said, let's kind of go through some of these playoffs and figure out how some of these schools got here. Starting off with Class D1, as I mentioned, Sandy Creek would be the winner of that one and their road to becoming the Class D1 state champions. They beat Exeter Milligan / Friends 60-40 in an absolute blowout. Then they move on and play Wisner Pilger, number 14 Wisner Pilger at that, 51-6. Then they go on to play number 6 Bridgeport. Nothing changes for Sandy Creek. Their offense is lethal. 45-6. They win that one and a blowout fashion as well, and it just continues for them. Then they get to number 7 Plainview in the semifinals. They win it 53-22, and then they get to Crofton in that championship game. And like I said before, I gave you the score. They win it by 40 in that championship game. I don't know who's going to have the best point margin in all of Class State football, but I'm hard pressed to think it might be Sandy Creek. Crofton, who got runner-up in this one, had a pretty dominant start as well, but it's just too much for Sandy Creek. Crofton in that first game, they beat Kimball 90-20. Then they go on to beat Johnson Brock, number 12 Johnson Brock, 88-56. So they scored 90, 88, and then they get to Hemingford and they beat them convincingly 60-12. And then they ultimately play the number 1 seed, get that upset and convincingly at that as well, 8-28. But like I said, just could not stop Sandy Creek. They had a really dominant finish there. Moving over to Class D2 to figure out how Why Not ended up getting their state championship as they took down number 4 St. Mary's. Let's start with the runner-up this time around. St. Mary's, their journey to get into the Class D2 championship game. They started off facing Creighton, number 9-29 Creighton at that. They beat them 60-16. Then they get number 20 Burwell, 46-6. They win. They get Sandhills Thedford. They win that one 66-24, 12-seeded Sandhills Thedford. Then we get to the semifinals matchup. They had also a number 1 seed upset, just like Crofton did. The other runner-up that we just went through, they beat Howes Dodge 52-28. End up in that championship game with Why Not. Why Not's road to that championship game, also in pretty convincing fashion. They beat number 27 seeded Fullerton 44-8. Number 11 Mullen 64-13. And then they beat number 3 Hitchcock County 43-12. Semifinal matchup, they had number 2 Central Valley pull that one off in convincing fashion as well, 45-28. And then they get to the St. Mary's game, and if you pay attention at the beginning, they win 60-71. Really dramatic championship game. Might be one of the better ones that Nick and Jay have been able to call so far today. The games that we're going to have coming up here in Class C1, you're going to have Wahoo versus number 1 Wahoo versus number 3 Sydney. And Wahoo's road to get there has been nothing less than dominant. They beat number 16 Milford 69-14. They take on number 9 Mount Michael Benedict. They win that one 55-14. And then they get the 4 seed Ashland Greenwood, and they win 61-21. Number 3 Sydney on the other side of the bracket started off with playing number 14 Pierce, and they win it in a pretty tight fashion, only by 1 touchdown, 21-14. Then they get the 6-seeded Fort Calhoun and win it in dominant fashion, 46-16. Then they get number 2 Lakeview, and they win 28-14. So they did upset that number 2 seed in there already. Now you got a 1-3 matchup. In the Class C2, championship games, like I said, you're going to have Grand Island Central Catholic versus number 2 Bishop Neumann, number 4 Grand Island Central Catholic at that. And Grand Central's Catholic has been upset after upset. They beat number West Point Beamer 49-14. Number 13 West Point Beamer 49-13. Then they get number 5 Bergen Catholic. They win 31-14, and then they get Ord and they win 23-13. My alma mater was the number 1 Cedar Catholic. They win that first game 48-0, and Ord sneaks up. That number 9 Cedar Ord does beat that 1 seed Cedar Catholic all the way down there in northeast Nebraska 27-21, which sets up for Grand Island Central Catholic to take on that 9 seed, and they get a win. They're going to be handling Bishop Neumann. Bishop Neumann has had one close game so far versus UTAM, but they opened up with number 15 Arlington, and they win that one 34-8. Then they move on to number 10 Utah. They win 30-26. And then they get to the semifinals. They take on number 3 seeded Kearney Catholic. They don't just win, they get a shutout on top of it. 34-0. They win that one. Now we'll get to Class A. You got number 4 Millard South versus number 3 Papillion La Vista South. And that, again, of course, will be the 17 p.m. last game of the day for our coverage of NSAA state championship football. Number 1, Omaha Westside's road to the state championship game in Memorial Stadium that will kick off tomorrow, 7:15 p.m. They beat number 16 Bellevue West 42-7. Move on to take on number 8 Kearney, and they win it big time 35-7. Millard South gets in that matchup, and you're looking at number 1 Omaha Westside thinking that they're going to be able to go through. Number 4 Millard South 62-21, convincing victory there, and then you get a 4-seeded Millard South seeded in that championship game. Looking at number 3 Papillion La Vista South and their journey to the state championship game. They beat Lincoln North Star in a thriller. Lincoln North Star gave them a run for their money, 22-23. The number 14 seed almost upsets the 3 seed. Papillion La Vista South moves on to play the number 11 seeded Millard North. They win 36-26. Then they get number 2 Creighton Prep, and they pull off that upset as well, 24-21. Papillion La Vista South has been in some close games throughout this entire one, in this championship playoff format anyways, as the biggest spread they've had in these wins in the playoffs so far was just a 10-point win over Millard South. You could say it's a good thing that these guys have been in a lot of close games and they're finding ways to pull it through, or maybe a little bit nervous. But that is number 4 Millard South, number 3 Papillion La Vista South. They will be getting ready to play tomorrow at 7:15 p.m. And some other action going on, since I got about 5, maybe a little bit more time than that on here. We also had Nebraska women's basketball tip off tonight as well. They are in the Emerald Coast Classic, and they took on Purdue Fort Wayne. They win it in convincing fashion. And you might hear the name Purdue Fort Wayne, nothing much of it. It is a pretty good basketball school over there. The record they have, they're pushing teams pretty well. I want to believe they beat a Big Ten opponent already on their schedule. So there's nothing to scoff at. 80-57 is a great win for the women's Husker basketball team, because I didn't think that was not a nobody school. It's a smaller school, but they had some definite talent there, as their record would show you. If you go through their schedule and who they played, they've actually had some pretty good matchups. Just looking at everyone they played. So that Big Ten team they beat was Purdue, 68-67. They lost to West Virginia, their biggest blowout by far, 83-47. They do push Xavier on the road, 62-61. They lose that game by 1 point. And then, as I said, they beat Purdue 68-67. And then when they play some of the schools closer to their competition, they've been winning convincingly. So Southern Illinois, they win 85-60. Eastern Michigan, they win 67-52. And as I just mentioned, they get blown out by the Huskers, 80-57. And some of the scores in that one, another great game from Britt Prince. She didn't shoot great from the three-point line, but only took a couple of them. But she did shoot 50% from the floor. She was 8 for 14 with 18 points. And you got pretty good spread from everyone in terms of who was producing offense. Let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 Huskers in double digits, and all but one Husker who played was able to get points. You look at the shooting percentages as well. Like I said, you will happily take 33-58, not quite 50, but not too far away from it. Or excuse me, over 50%. And then you 56.9%. And then their 3-point percentage, they didn't take a lot. They took 8 for 18, but they made 44% of them. A really good shooting day. And then free throws also didn't get a ton, but they go 6 for 7, 85.7% from the line there. Fort Wayne, Purdue wasn't their best shooting night. They shot roughly 39% from the floor, 30% from three, and then okay from the free throw line, 77.8% there. And again, just a really collective, dominant win for this women's Nebraska basketball team. It's been a good start for Husker hoops, women's and men's. You can talk about them both together in that same tune, as both these teams are finding ways to win. Not only win, collectively win. And that's been the thing that's been most impressive for me with these two teams. You look at the men's team, and it's a little bit like last year until Bryce Williams really took over the reins on being that offensive guy and being the leading scorer more often than not. But you're kind of in this moment where it feels like just about every one of those Husker starters might be the leading scorer. And even Sam Hoiberg, who's the big clue guy, has been the leading scorer in one of these wins already so far this season. So it's a really good team that knows how to share the ball. And with the way they're racking up assists is the most promising thing to me. They've had some games where they even had, a little bit sloppy on turnovers, where they'll have a game where they almost get 18 turnovers. But the way they're able to get a ton of assists, that turnover to assist ratio still looks really good. On top of that, you just got a bunch of sharpshooters at the 3-point line. You don't need every single one of those guys going. When you got Connor Season, you got Price Sanford, who came in out of Iowa, Jamarcus Lawrence, whose jump shots looked more and more confident. Feels like as each game has gone on here, as he's figuring out what his role is going to be on this team. Connor Season, Cale Jacobson, and then Braden Frager has been a freshman phenom who's also won the Big Ten Freshman of the Week, who's getting some accolades and acknowledged for it. Rightfully so. He's also got a nice jumper, and he's tall enough. I believe he's listed at 6'7". They can go out there and attack the rim as well, and you're loving seeing that out of the freshman that is Frager. And you got some depth there. There's other guys on this team who you're maybe figuring out what their role is going to be. Berke Beruktingel, he's in that starting lineup, but I think he's still a little bit trying to figure out what his role is going to be. It's defense, clearly. It's rebounding, clearly. But offensively, where does he fit best, and where does he like his matchups at? And we all know about Rank Mass, what he's been doing. Kendall Blue, another guy who I think, he's trying to figure out what his role is going to be on this team. Right now, it feels like Jamarcus Lawrence is probably our best ball handler. Sam Hoiberg does a good job as well, bring the ball up and down the court if he sees a transition opportunity. But you just like these teams a lot so far, and you're getting some big wins. You don't want to count the exhibition game versus I believe Xavier or BYU early in the year for Husker men's basketball. But that kind of gave you a sign right there that this team can score a lot of points and swing up there with some of the best. And then you see that in their game versus Oklahoma, where they're able to score 105. And then clearly they win their last game and put together another explosive offensive performance. Lots of positive things here in Huskerland. With that being said, we'll get ready to throw it back over to Memorial Stadium as we get the Nebraska High School Class B football championships going on. If you guys are just tuning back in, it is halftime and it should be over shortly. Waverly is winning it 28-14 over Gretna East. It is a chalk matchup at number 1 versus number 2. And right now, number 1 is leading pretty convincingly. But Gretna East was feeling like they're making a push there towards the end. So for the Gretna East fans, you had some positive signs there at the end. A phenomenal play by the wide receiver to somehow stay in bounds and get that one to the end zone, and some calm collection by the quarterback to stay in the pocket and go through his progressions. And then Waverly, it's been that run game. It's been hard to stop, but it felt like Gretna East might have found something there at the end. We'll see if Gretna East can continue to push Waverly and make this a closer game, or if Waverly comes out and starts pulling away here. So don't go anywhere. On the other side, you will be joined by Nick Sainer, Jay Foreman for the Class B High School Football State Championships. I am Harrison Arns, but like I said, don't go anywhere. They will join you shortly right here on 93.7 The Ticket.
There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals, and get your lift on with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription, or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Attention Nebraska sports fans. Are you ready to take your skills to the next level? The Army National Guard is looking for leaders who are dedicated, driven, and ready to make a difference. Join up and gain invaluable experience while serving your country with a flexible schedule, competitive benefits, and a chance to build a strong future. Learn more at nationalguard.com/Nebraska. Live here, serve here. The Nebraska Army National Guard. Guard the good life.
Welcome back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in as we are just a couple of minutes away from kickoff of the third quarter here in the Class B state championship game. Nick Sander alongside here with my man Jay Foreman. Jay, we're getting ready in the next 24 hours to kind of put a bow on another fun and exciting high school football season. High school basketball is right around the corner. We know that. That all leads up to March as well. And then high school baseball state tournament coverage in May. Austin Orman usually joins me on the call for that one. But here we have it. Why are you shaking your head like that?
You and Austin on baseball. You guys do a great job.
Okay, I appreciate that. At the half, though, in the Class B state championship game, worst part is I don't know if you mean that. 28-14, your score of Waverly out in front. They've doubled up the Gretna East Griffins. Gretna East scored first. They got 7-0 lead on the board, and then Waverly kind of just took over and really established a rushing attack. 146 yards on the ground as a team. 115 of that comes from the guy Nathan Axman. 19 carries, 115 yards, a rushing touchdown in that first half. But Broxton Tepley's been pretty good himself.
Yeah, the whole offensive, plethora of athletes and obviously skill position guys for Waverly has been on point. Actually, after we haven't even talked about first time Nathan Axman had the ball, he fumbled it, seemed to bounce back rather easily, and obviously got over 100 yards. Broxton Tepley, a young player, right? You remember him as a true freshman. We called his game at Southwest, and he's grown a lot, and he's done a really good job. But then also Gavin McMillan, who really got the party started with the 19-yard touchdown pass that he caught, but then he came back and he ran it for 15 yards. Then obviously has been all over the field defensively. So they have a deep unit of guys. I mean, obviously it's a very senior-laden team for the Waverly Vikings, and they imposed their will probably from the middle of the second quarter all the way up until Gretna East was able to score. So they were able to come out of halftime or potentially come out of halftime well rested and refocused to try to run the ball down, Gretna East's throat.
Waverly is going to get the ball to start quarter number 3 here. But if you're Gretna East, Jay, I mean, what defensively, okay, as a linebacker, because this is a big, I mean, when you're facing a running back like Axman, even if the defensive line doesn't necessarily get hands on him, but like, what is you as a linebacker? What's the conversation at the halftime break?
Well, number one, you got to. I think I've been able to watch the defensive coaches, and as they're communicating, I think it's been a little bit of a stage fright, a little bit for Gretna East, where they're making some probably uncanny mistakes and not normal behaviors when they're out there playing. So I think you really want to get them back in tune to what you came here to do, what you practice all week. More importantly, you actually against a running back like Axman and a big offensive line that likes to just push you to wherever you're going, and he does a really good job of setting up and then reading those blocks. You want to penetrate, but you want to make sure you don't penetrate and play on an edge. So you got to play through these big defensive linemen, and then ultimately, when you're at the point of attack, somebody has to win, right? At some point in time, you got to get off blocks. You can't stay blocked, and then you got to really take a little bit of a chapter out of the Waverly Vikings book. More hats to the ball, too many times Axman's getting to the second and third level one-on-one, and he's making a lot of hay.
So Gretna East will take over, Gretna East will kick it off, to start the third quarter of play, put 12 minutes on the game clock here. 28-14 is your score. Waverly up in front by 14, trying to get their first state championship since 1980, their second ever in school history. We are ready to go as the boot meets leather, and we are underway in the third quarter of the Class B state championship matchup. 28-14 your score. Waverly will start it after the touchback. 1st and 10 at their own 25.
Like, we get to see Gretna East, what kind of changes you've made or what kind of adjustments I think you made defensively across your defensive front. And it looks right now one of the adjustments that they made, they're coming out in the 4-man front here to try to go big on big against this big, physical, fast, quick offensive line of Waverly. And so the one thing that Waverly does offensively with their run scheme is they give you every single blocking scheme that you could, go against. And so you have to be very, very good technique-wise in order to stop them.
So here we go. Trips out far side. They hand it off. Nathan Axman right up the middle, gets stuffed, and somehow still is able to power forward for 2 yards. That's what we're talking about, though, is he gets hit immediately, but still is able to have the body control and the strength, really, to still get 2 yards.
Yeah, so he turns a play that potentially could have been a negative play into a positive play, getting 2 yards, and you're not at or ahead of the change, but what you're able to do is have some sort of positive outcome after a negative play, and also the physicality that he runs with can wear you out even if you're a defensive lineman.
So 2nd down and 8 as Tepley is in the shotgun. Right hip is Axman. They toss it right side, have a couple of blockers. He gets to the edge across the 30, and he's out of bounds after a first down by Nathan Axman.
Yep.
He's pushed out of bounds by number 5, Lucas Haverty.
See, that's an example right there, Nick. They had everything that you wanted probably internally, right here. You had a runner coming, a free runner. Now what they do? They lost the edge, and Axman is good enough. He sets up his blocks, so he acts like he's going to dip inside, and he dips right outside. He's a really good running back for the Waverly Vikings.
So 1st and 10 now for the Waverly offense at their own 33. Here they'll motion 2 wideouts far side. A tight end is lined up on the left side of that offensive line with the wide receiver on the near side. To the left, they fake the toss left side, looking downfield. Tepley in a receiver in coverage. It's McMillan. He hauls it in again. He points towards the end zone. It's a first down for the Waverly Vikings across the 45 to the 40-yard line. 1st and 10.
Good job there by Tepley, feathering it under pressure, on time, on target. And also the best thing about it, Nick, is the location for his big receiver to go up and catch it. That's a combination that we're going to hear about for the rest of this game and all of next year for the Waverly Vikings.
1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. In the empty shotgun set is Broxton Tepley. 3 wideouts far side, 2 to the near side, kind of stacked on top of one another. Here from the 40 of the Gretna East Griffins. Quick pass out near side. It's McMillan. He's tripped up and finally taken down by a cavalry of Gretna East defenders. He'll lose a couple of yards on that play. It's a loss of 2 officially. Back at the Griffins' 42-yard line to bring up 2nd down and 12.
Good job there by the Gretna East defense of rallying to the ball, and they tried to go back-to-back there with McMillan. They rallied to him. So good effort, better effort. I think the 4-man front probably is a really good change there for Gretna East, and I like it when coaches are making a little bit of adjustments, trying to alleviate some of the weaknesses they showed against the run game.
2nd down and 12 from the 42-yard line. McMillan's all by himself at the bottom. They hand it off left side. Axman, he cuts up field, spins around, and just barrels his way forward all the way up across the 35 to the 33-yard line to set up a 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, this is a veteran offensive line because even though that you had to change from a 3-man front to a 4-man front, they already know their adjustments, no confusion. And then also, as you see on the replay, they stay on their blocks to the very end. This team goes and stops and goes, based on how this offensive line plays. And they're big and physical and fast. And now it's up to the Gretna East Griffins to stop them here on this crucial 3rd down.
3rd down and 3, 1 wide out far side along that Waverly sideline, 2 at the bottom to the left side of Tepley is Axman. He gets the handoff on 3rd down and short, trying to barrel his way forward. Gretna East stands tall. It's no gain on the play, and to bring up 4th down and 3 from the Gretna East 33-yard line.
Yeah, well, it's a big decision here for the Waverly Vikings. It looks like they're going for it, or at least they're going to wait and maybe take a delay a game penalty. So they feel very confident they can get these 4 or 5 yards or 4th and 3 here against the Gretna East defense. more importantly, Gretna East is the ultimate time and ultimate opportunity to flip the field here early in the third quarter, like we mentioned at the end of the second quarter.
Two tight ends lined up on the right side of the line. McMillan's in the slot. Back to pass. Tepley looking McMillan's way. He's flushed. He's running to the left side. Now reverses. Throws off his back foot. Downfield. No one's home. It's incomplete. And it's a turnover on downs, but there's multiple flags on the play. One is in the vicinity of where the ball was thrown. One was also just about 4 yards past the line of scrimmage. Could it be defensive holding? Could it be a legal man downfield? And as Jay Foreman predicted, it's ineligible man downfield on the offensive line. That penalty is declined. They called it on number 65 of Waverly. That is Tyson Heine. And Heine signaled for the flag, and it's going to be 1st and 10 Gretna East after the turnover on downs.
Yeah, if there's a way that you could start the second half after not so good first half, that's what you want from the Gretna East Griffins there, to come out of halftime, get a stop, and actually Waverly got one big play. So you really held your serve here, and you got plenty of time to get back into this game offensively.
So here we go. Gretna East comes out, shotgun set. Sam's to the right side of Grow. Grow takes the snap. He fakes the handoff. He's going to keep it himself. Try to get to the edge. Great job defensively by number 12 of that Vikings defense, Brady Schieffer, the senior linebacker, in on the stop, and he sacks Grow for about a 5-yard loss.
Yeah, when you look at Brady Schieffer, he doesn't look very big, but he's 6'5", 225 pounds, and he can run. So that length and speed allows you to track down quarterbacks like Grow. Good idea, but not against this Waverly Vikings big, fast, long defense. And so they got to try to get something like they did in the second quarter there, a little misdirection, and obviously some mesh plays as well.
It's a pump fake downfield, has a receiver. It is, oh no, it's dropped. It was a first down across midfield at the Waverly 40-yard line, and the receiver intended on the play, unable to haul it in. That's number 4. That is number 4, Seth Craigle, who was the intended receiver. It was a good ball, a great job pump faking the defense. It was in the breadbasket, and as he hit the turf, his elbow jarred the ball loose.
I like that play call, a little pump and go from the slot to loosen up that defense of Waverly Vikings. You had more than a step, and I think he just misjudged on what shoulder it was going to come over and wasn't able to come up with that catch there.
So after Gretna East forces a turnover on downs, they're in danger of going 3 and out. 3rd and 14, back to pass, looking, throwing downfield, intended for Craigle. This time, no, it's dropped again. The same exact spot. It was another good throw, and Craigle cannot help his quarterback out. 2 plays in a row, and it's going to be a Gretna East punt.
Yeah, right there is Craigle. When we talk about sometimes, Nick, when you play under these lights, and maybe the lights that you're usually used to playing again under, and Gretna is significantly different here and on Tom Osborne Field. Judging the ball, tracking the ball is sometimes harder to do than you might think of it. Catching it when you're warming up versus catching it when you're out here playing is a technique and obviously a skill that you have to hone in, but you don't have a lot of opportunities to do so.
They went right back to Craigle after he dropped it on 2nd down, and he drops it again on 3rd down. And this line drive punt, short punt. It's going to be bounced inside the 40, and it's going to take a very friendly Griffin bounce. Thanks to the bounce, it got an extra 12 to 15 yards of real estate in the favor of the Griffins. Instead, now it's going to be 1st and 10, down at the 31-yard line of Waverly with 7:37 to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, Gretna East got to go out there and the defense got to answer the bell again, right? You gave your offense an opportunity and they just weren't able to execute. And so you got to be a good team and good teammates. And obviously complimentary football, go out there and get the ball back against this high-powered physical offensive line and offensive, firepower here of the Waverly Vikings, because there's only 7 minutes left here. We've had 2 possessions, 7 minutes left in the third quarter, so they're going to eat up some time. But now you got to make sure that you do what you did. You do what you did in the first drive, and so that 4-man front, I think, was a really good adjustment. I think their physicality is probably upped a little bit. Obviously, you probably understanding that you were in a full-fledged prize fight here against the Waverly Vikings, but more importantly, a little bit of stage fright. Even though both teams are relatively new to Lincoln, Waverly has kind of been churning towards this longer than Gretna East, and so they need to continue along the path of trying to get the ball back for their offensive weaponry, led by Grow and company, and obviously try to get Connor Sands the ball. but defensively they got to step up here on this drive.
7 minutes, 37 seconds remain here in the third quarter. Waverly was stopped shy on 4th down and 3 a moment ago. Gave the ball to Gretna East, a massive opportunity for the Griffins. And unfortunately, 2 drops by Seth Craigle on the near sideline, almost in the exact same spot on both plays. He's unable to haul either one of those in, and Gretna East has to punt it back to Waverly. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Vikings at their own 31-yard line. So a massive, massive chance for Waverly, who's caught a break defensively of their own here in the third quarter, to add on to their 14-point lead. They're in front 28-14. Axman lined up to the left side. He tosses it that way, does Tepley. Axman waiting for his blocks to engage. Now has a hole to skirt through, and he gets forward across the 35-yard line to the 37. Gain of 6 on 1st down to make it 2nd and 4.
Yeah, a little bit delayed outside zone, and Axman really tried to dip inside. Reminds me of how, like, Le'Veon Bell used to set up his blocks when he was really rolling with Pittsburgh, dip in and dip out. Then he opens up the outside lane there for a 6 or 7 yard gain. So he's a really good running back, and obviously Waverly leans on him and will continue to lean on him late in the game, because you got to think he has 24 carries, right, where you compare to 42 or whatever he had the last game. This is the last game of his senior year. Look for him to get close to 40 as possible as far as amount of carries.
Axman tackled from behind after he's falling forward. It's going to be a gain of about 4.5 yards, and so that'll move the chains for a 1st down. Looks like we have an injured Waverly Viking on the play as well, an offensive lineman. That is number 67, Ethan Papasil, who is slow to get up for a moment. He's trying to jog off the field under his own power. It looks like he's able to do so, and now he falls down, and he'll be tended to by the medical staff over on the Waverly Vikings sideline. So with a 1st down carry there for Nathan Axman, it's going to bring up 1st down and 10 from the 41-yard line of the Waverly Vikings.
Yeah, Gretna East has got a bow up here, right, with the clock running, and obviously this offense starting to churn. We got a 1st down finally, some confidence for Waverly. Now you got to take it away from them by stopping them here on this 1st down.
Axman on the right side. He was met by one Gretna East defender. He rolled over him, and then the cavalry came in and helped him out. And it's going to bring up 2nd down and medium after another 5-yard gain on 1st down. Jay, Waverly doing a good job staying on schedule here on time.
Yeah, and they're taking their sweet time getting in and out of the huddle and just leaning on this Gretna East defense. Nothing explosive plays as far as the run game goes, but just 5-6 yards of carry. Able to play how they want to play, and they're just looking to probably have 2 or 3 possessions before this game is over if it keeps going like this.
2nd down and 5 from the 46-yard line. Axman lined up on the left hip of Broxton Tepley. 2 wideouts far side, 1 to the near side. McMillan is in the slot on that left side. Here's Axman. He runs it up the middle, gets tripped up just shy of the 50-yard line. A nice job defensively by number 59 right in that A-gap, Liam Norton. And it's stopped shy of the 1st down line to gain. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Waverly offense.
Yeah, good job there by Gretna is holding to minimal gain, 2-yard gain there. Now it's about 3rd and 2 or a long 1. The problem here that you run into with this Waverly offense, you'd think let's run 9 guys up, 8-man box. But the problem is you got McMillan and company out there. That's a matchup problem for your corners and safeties.
So once again, 3rd down and 1. Here from midfield. Big I formation. Axman right up the gut has a 1st down and more across the 40-yard line of Gretna East. And they keep on feeding the big man, and he keeps providing results across the 45, across the 40, and move the chains once again. And this is one thing that you have to worry about with Gretna East as Axman continues to wear them down. Not only an injured Griffin on the field, but at some point, and it hurt Gretna East in the first half, Jay, where they had to start calling timeouts just to catch their breath because they were absorbing body blow after body blow.
Yeah, and the defense is obviously very young as far as the Gretna East defense goes, and they're obviously only being a high school for their 3rd season. They don't have the depth and they don't have the strength and the girth of what you have over there at Waverly. And so sometimes when you're seeing Axman come at you, you see the offensive lineman come at you, you see their subbing offensive line, then they go big package, big eye. Sometimes, it could be a little nature versus nurture thing. And so hopefully this young man is okay. But what they have to do right now is really, really focus because they've been playing better defensively. Now, one thing I would do, I like the 4-man front. They're bringing their outside linebacker Holgrave up on the other side, on the weak side. I'd like to see them do that, the same thing, and get a guy on the outside on the strong side, because they're running away from where you're bringing that linebacker up, and they're getting a soft edge. And if they're not, Axman is creating that edge by the way his running style. So if you can make him do something that he doesn't want to do early in the possession, it actually works out more favorable for these Gretna East defenders.
As they continue to tend to the injured Griffin, Michael Marriott on the field. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome back in, Nick Sander, Jay Foreman. Sorry, Jay, go ahead.
Nick, one thing, you got Michael Marriott, right? He's the starting corner, sophomore. You got Drew Dowd, starter, sophomore. You got guys out here, Griffin Tuff, freshman. You got true freshmen and sophomores out here playing against 26 or more seniors.
Pump and go. Tepley looking McMillan's way up the far sideline. He almost hauled it in with his left hand. In coverage was number 8, Caden Annis of the Gretna East Griffins. There is a flag in the backfield. We'll see if it was either a hold or if Tepley was hit late. But, yeah, to your point, Jay, a very young team as they signal a hold on the Waverly offense. That'll drive it back 10 yards. And they were firmly in Griffin territory. This one's going to put them closer to midfield, still within striking distance. 4:54 to go in the third quarter. 28-14, Waverly out in front. They've doubled up the Griffins. We have yet to see points here in the second half.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of controlling the pace here, not allowing obviously Gretna East to score on the one time they had the ball, but more importantly for Waverly, they've been able to control the clock here for the majority of the time in the third quarter. Now they got to get a little bit out of their element here, and on first down, look for a screen game or a quick pass here to Axman.
Tepley back to pass on 1st and 20. He throws. No, he does not. He decides to hold on with it, and he gets taken down for the sack. In on the stop, that was number 59 for Gretna East, the big man in the middle, Liam Norton.
Good job there by Liam Norton. Continue to rush the passer and chase the quarterback down and get a big tackle for loss, or actually a sack there, which actually puts Waverly way behind the chains. Now, what you can't do on second down, Nick, is allow an explosive run because you're trying to play the pass. Now, you got to trust your defense. You got to trust your coverages against McMillan or whoever else they have in there is Connor Shear, who's probably their next deep threat. You have to really, really focus on stopping Axman from getting an explosive run.
Axman lined up to the right. He gets the handoff zone, handoff left side. It takes a trio of Gretna East defenders to finally bring him down. But thankfully for that Griffins defense, they have some real estate to work with until the first down line to gain. However, Axman does get up to the Gretna East 45-yard line. A gain of 9 on second down to now bring up 3rd down and 17 from the Griffins' 45-yard line. We saw Waverly go for it on 4th and 3 earlier in the third quarter here, and we could see that if they get enough yardage on this 3rd down and 17, that maybe they try to go for it again. Gretna East really struggling on offense, especially with the drops. Toss right side, trying to get Axman outside. He stiff arms one defender, now reverses field. Great job by the Griffins defense, sealing the edge, and then the help came. Number 23, that was Will Hogreef, in on the stop for the Gretna East defense, and that's going to force Waverly's first punt of the day.
That's all you want there if you're Coach Haberman over. You want your defense to step up, and they've done that this whole second half, and with their back against the wall, they've done it, and then they've done it again right here. You really like this effort coming out of halftime, but I'm going to keep harping on this, Nick, how young this team is. Caleb Tesmer, sophomore. Marriott, sophomore. Haverty, sophomore. Tuff, freshman. Dowd, freshman. Even at some of their linemen, Moyer, sophomore. San Filippo, sophomore. Boyer, junior. When you talk about building for the future and being able to reach the state championship with such a young team, and they do have some really good senior players, and even Chase Groh, he's a junior, right? And so when you think about Gretna East, they're going to be on the scene for quite some time, but they're facing a grown man's team here in Waverly. And so if they can get a score right here, Nick, with the way they played defense in this third quarter, the pressure does go over to the favorite in Waverly.
Waverly's punt goes out of bounds after a line drive punt on a low snap. It's out of bounds right at the 20-yard line, and that is where the Griffins offense takes over First and 10 at their own 20. In the pistol formation, it's Grow with Sams lined up behind him. They turn, they hand it off left side here. Sams has a little bit of running room, cuts back inside. There goes Sams across the 40, across the 50, inside to Waverly territory, and pushed out of bounds past the 45-yard line at the 41. It's a first down on a big running play on first down by Connor Sams of Gretna East, and the Griffins are in business.
Yeah, the Griffins are definitely in business, and a little bit of a change in their blocking scheme, Nick. We talked about when they tacked the outsides of Waverly, they've had a lot of success. So they went with a little bit of inside zone that was actually made to go to the outside. They changed the pin down and a wrap around there with the tight end and tackle. Worked out really well for them on that play. Let's see if they go back to it in the next play or two.
First and 10 from the Waverly 41. They turn right back to Sams. He goes, trying to lower that left shoulder up the middle. Not a whole lot of running room, but he does get 2 yards inside the Vikings' 40-yard line to the 39. So to bring up second down and 8 in just a moment. We currently sit 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining here in the Class B state championship game. Waverly leads Gretna East 28-14. But after a big 39-yard run by Connor Sams a moment ago, he followed it up with a 2-yard carry on first down to make it second down and 8 from the 39 of Waverly.
You see in Gretna East maybe getting a little bit more success, and look at that safety creeping back a little bit because of the ability to play pitch and catch.
Grow back to pass. He throws it left side. It's hauled in by the intended receiver. That's number 8, Caden Annis, and he's inside the 30-yard line. Good enough for a Gretna East first down. It's first and 10. And the ball will be marked at the 28-yard line.
Yeah, Caden Annis can win out there against anybody in Class B. He did a really good job there against number 1, Zach McHouse, creating separation, catching it with his body, and then obviously getting yards after contact, getting the first down and a little bit more.
1:55 remains in the third quarter. Snap back, fakes the handoff, looking left side. They're looking towards the end zone. It's Annis again. Did he get his foot in? He did. Touchdown, Gretna East, as Caden Annis comes up big on consecutive plays. A good ball towards the pylon by Grow, and Gretna East is within 8.
Really good quarterback play there by Grow, and a really good pass, actually. It's been great quarterback play in this game. They're actually in both games tonight, but a really good pass there. Dropped it into the bucket, outside shoulder. I just mentioned Annis can get open against anybody in Class B, and obviously they went right back to that matchup. And maybe that's an adjustment they had at halftime and said, you know what, we're going to try to test number 1 over there, and they had success on him so far. 1-score game, Nick.
28-20 as the extra point. The snap is down, the kick is up, and the kick is good with 1:46 remaining in the third quarter. Your score, the Waverly Vikings 28, the Griffins of Gretna East 21 here at Memorial Stadium. We'll step aside, come back in 30 seconds here on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first. Now is the time to get a glimpse into living and learning at Doane University through a personalized in-person or virtual visit. We know once you experience Doane, you'll see why it's a place where you can achieve your goals and shape your future. Schedule your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit.
Now back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nick Sander, Jay Foreman alongside here from Memorial Stadium up on the 6th floor on the west side here in the press box. A spot familiar with watching Husker football games on Saturday. Today and tomorrow we are bringing you state championship action here as we have had the D2 and D1 matchups on the ticket earlier today. Tonight it's Class B action. Tomorrow C2, C1, and we wrap it all up with the Class A championship between Millard South and that high-powered squad going up against Papillion La Vista South. But first, here on a Monday evening, we have a Class B title to settle as Gretna East draws within a touchdown. The kickoff is underway as that one will sky into the end zone all the way behind the Huskers, painted at in the end zone, I should say. And with 1:46 to go in the third quarter, Waverly takes over, 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line here in the second half. Jay, man, Gretna East surely has had a little bit more of an answer for Nathan Axman.
Yeah, and that's what you got to give credit to Coach Haberman and staff, that you went in at halftime, made some sneaky adjustments. You came out with a four-man front. You changed the way that you're blocking out on the edge, and so you've seen success on both ways, and it's allowed your defense to answer the bell. You're not going to completely shut down Waverly offensively, but you're doing enough to get off the field, get your offense a chance, and they missed that first opportunity they had offensively as well.
There's a little bit of juice on that Gretna East sideline here. They handed off. Axman in the middle, spun around, dropped after a gain of 2 up to the 22-yard line. You can hear the Gretna East fans beneath us here on the west side having a little bit of energy as there's a Waverly offensive lineman slow to get up, and that is number 70, Holden Crease, as Holden will slightly jog off the field. And we will go to business. 2nd down and 8 coming up from the 22-yard line. A really good job of adjustments to this point by the Gretna East coaching staff on that sideline. 2nd down and 8. An all-state player in Nathan Axman lines up to the right hip of Broxton Tepley. The pass far side. It's a screen. It's dropped. Incomplete. And Waverly will have a 3rd and 8 coming up from their own 22-yard line with 1:03 to play in the third.
This is the first time we've seen Waverly out of their element and out of their sorts here, and it's all due to the pressure of the Gretna East Griffins, applying it themselves. The adjustment at halftime, the 4-man front, playing with a little bit more energy and physicality. I talked about it in the first half. Sometimes I wouldn't call it stage fright, but when you get out here, you kind of play too tight. Now I think they're playing loose, and this is the team that everybody saw blow through the playoffs here by double-digit wins against everybody they played.
Waverly isolates McMillan at the top. They throw to the bottom instead. It's a tunnel screen up the near side. He's going to be short of the first down line to gain by a couple of yards. The receiver on the play was Kale Lade, and Lade, is short of the line to gain, and that'll force another Waverly punt with 45 seconds to go in the third quarter. Gretna East, all things considered, barring a penalty, is going to get a football back.
Yeah, this is right what you want here. If you're Coach Haberman, you got 35 seconds. You probably get it and probably let the quarter run out, but you have a chance to tie the game up, and you're going to get in a favorable position if you're able to return the ball for 10 or more yards.
Nathan Scholl standing inside his own 15 at the 14. He walks up, boots this one away. This is a much better punt. Fair catch signaled for and hauled in at the 34-yard line of Gretna East by the return man, number 24, Sawyer Thompson. And with 14 seconds to play in the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen, Gretna East, trailing by 7, gets the football back.
Sawyer Thompson, another one of those super sophomores playing in the state championship game. This is a young, feisty Gretna East Griffins team. They looked like they were dead in the water. Found a little sauce there right before halftime, was able to go in down by 2 scores, battled their way to get back with 1 score. Now they are on the attack. Waverly, let's see how they do with it facing their own pressure. They're undefeated, never had to be in this situation all year.
The motion Craigle, they fake the handoff to him, looking downfield. They're going to take a shot. Once again, it's Annis. He comes back. He makes the catch inside the 20 for the Waverly Vikings.
Yeah, a little play action. Annis was open way before that. Groh dropped a dime in there. Annis, I'm telling you right now, I said it. I have a little sneaky tip, Nick. He can get open against anybody in Class B. Number 8 is having him a night. The Griffins are on the attack, trying to pull the upset.
6 seconds remain. They'll let this one trickle and 000 show. We enter the fourth quarter of play as Gretna East, who trailed 28-14 at half, they outscore and shut out Waverly 7-0 in quarter number 3, and they are inside the red zone to start the final quarter of play in the Class B state championship game. It's 28-21. Waverly on top. Gretna East starts it up. 1st and 10 at the Waverly 19-yard line when we come back here on 93.7 The Ticket.
You've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals, and get your lift on with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Welcome back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to go here. Start of the fourth quarter. It's 28-21. Waverly with a 7-point lead, and they had all the momentum going into the halftime break. But my goodness, the Gretna East Griffins with some defensive adjustments and some big plays on offense, they're right back in this, trailing by a touchdown, 1st and 10 at the Waverly 19-yard line.
Yeah, Caden Ennis has done a really good job, but then I think also Connor Sams has had a couple big runs, and then I think when you open up the playbook and change some adjustments of how you're attacking this Waverly Viking defense up front, is really put them on their heels right now. This is the first time they face this all season.
Here's a reverse. It's Kragel, left side, has a guy to beat on the perimeter. He's able to shed a tackle, and then he's immediately upended just 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. He was able to beat the first guy on the perimeter that he met, and then was unable to get past the next 2 Waverly Vikings defenders after a 2-yard gain on the play. It's 2nd down and 8 from the 17-yard line here in the Class B title game. They will break the huddle. Gretna East will, as at the bottom, there's 1 receiver, 2 wideouts to the top. A tight end is flexed to the right side as Connor Sams is in the backfield to the right side of Grow, the quarterback. Grow looking right side towards the end zone, and Herman unable to get to the right spot to field that pass from Grow, and that brings up a 3rd down and 8 from the 17-yard line. Maybe there's something to be said about at the end of the quarter, it gave Waverly a time to kind of decompress and breathe.
Yeah, they were able to make a couple adjustments there. You see how they're doing. They're playing a little bit more closer with their safeties and with their corners and nickels, and then they're having their free safety play more in the middle of the field so he can make a touchdown saving tackle or go over the top and get an interception.
Annis is to the top. Kragel's in the slot at the bottom. Back to pass Grow. He's getting pressured from behind, and Grow's going to be – no, he almost was thrown down. Now he's finally taken down. Number 65 for the Waverly Vikings, Tyson Haney, finally able to bring Grow down. It looked like he was spun around like Colt McCoy was by Ndamukong Suh, but somehow he stayed on his feet initially before Haney came in and tore him down.
A big series there for Waverly after the changing of the quarters. They were able to make some adjustments and really hold serve there and have Gretna East potentially have to go for a field goal. I think Gretna East fans want them to go for it. No, they don't.
They are going for a field goal. The ball is placed at the 22-yard line, so it is going to be a 39-yard field goal attempt. And we have a stoppage on the field. Gretna East just signaled for a timeout. I don't know if they had all enough 11 players. Guys, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, they had all 11. But Gretna East and head coach Justin Haberman may want to talk things over. It's a 39-yard field goal attempt as the –
Yeah, it was a 39-yard field goal attempt. The clock was running down, so Haberman had to blow a timeout. And obviously those are crucial when you're trying to come back against a team like Waverly because – The change in the quarter allowed them to not only make a defensive adjustment to hold them to potentially only 3 points as far as Gretna East goes, but then also allowed them to make some adjustments offensively with their running attack and their offense attack going against this upstart Gretna East Griffin defense. And so now this series, the next one, no matter what happens on the outcome of this field goal attempt, is probably the biggest of the game because Gretna is going to have to try to get the ball back one more time for this offense. And when you think about it, the very first series, they gave the offense the ball in favorable positions and dropped 2 potential touchdown catches there on deep passes.
It's a 39-yard field goal attempt for Camden Korth. They're lined up on the left hash. He's kicking towards the south end zone here at Memorial Stadium. The right-footed kicker with the hold by number 13 in white as now Waverly brings pressure off the edge, and they will get called for an offsides penalty. The Waverly Vikings will, That makes it 4th down and 8.
Yeah,
but now a 34-yard field goal instead of a 39.
Yeah, I think Gretna East kicker is pretty good, and I don't even know why you would try to Caden Korth is a pretty good kicker, so, why you would try to block it from the outside. I know McMillan's a pretty good athlete, but I think he would jumped off sides before they even got down and got set. So it's a free 5 yards. Could be the little tip that they need here to get a 3 points.
So it is now a 34-yard field goal for Camden Korth from the left hash. They snap it. It's a line drive kick. It's trending towards the uprights, and it is no good. He pushed it right.
Oh, well, you know what? That offside penalty didn't hurt Waverly or McMillan. Now a little bit more momentum and juice there over there to the 7-point leader there, Waverly Vikings, to see what they can do here to try to bleed the clock to the point that Gretna will not be able to tie the game.
10:23 to go in the 4th quarter, and Waverly takes over after the missed field goal. Jay, I'm not going to be the one to say it's your fault, but you did just talk about how talented Camden Korth has been all year long, which you're not wrong about. But here, you just mentioned it, and he pushes a field goal right.
I was going to say sometimes, 5 yards isn't a big deal to him, and you're in your rhythm, and then you have to reset. Sometimes it hurts the kicker in that point.
Can they establish Nathan Axman again as Axman gets the carry on 1st down, continues to drive defenders forward across the 25-yard line and down at the 27. It's a 7-yard gain on 1st down for Nathan Axman up that left side.
Yeah, Nathan Axman right back to business with an 8-yard run to the left side. A little bit, I call that a delayed outside zone where he comes real tight off the guard and then he bounces it out and then he hits it right off the tight end. Really good job of setting up his blocks there for Axman. 2nd
down and 3. Axman to the left hip of Tepley. 2 wideouts far side. They hand it off again to Axman on the right side. He thinks about reversing space. Instead, he gets stood up for no gain. They might have actually awarded him a half a yard to make it a true 3rd down and 2 instead of 3rd down and 2.5. They sure did up to the 28-yard line, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and short for this Waverly Vikings offense. A massive opportunity for Gretna East after a missed field goal to get the ball in the hands of their offense real quickly after they stalled.
Well, here comes Waverly with the mass substitution on the offensive line, and they're going their super big eye with Axman and the 2 offensive linemen in front of them, trying to pick up these 2 yards, but potentially setting himself up for explosive run play.
Axman, the deep back, they give it to him. He's got a hole. He just continues to drive past the 35-yard line. It's a gain of 11, rather 10 on 3rd down and 2. Nathan Axman on what was for the game another carry. That is carry number 34 on the day. He is 4 yards shy of 200 on the night, and he gets it a 1st down for the Waverly offense.
Yeah, sometimes when you get in those tight formations and obviously big defensive units, if you don't make the right adjustments or you're not hitting the offensive play just correctly, you can give up a big run play.
1st and 10, toss left side. Here's Axman again. He cuts upfield, lowers his shoulder, and he gets stood up. A great job by that Gretna East Griffins defense to limit Nathan Axman to just a yard on 1st down to make it 2nd down and 9 coming up. That is carry number 35 for Axman. Don't forget, in the semifinal win against Bennington, Axman carried the rock 42 times in that 38-18 victory over the Badgers for Waverly, and he is trending towards that number yet again here tonight.
Yeah, he's having a great game. He's had a great playoff run, but he's been a great player for Waverly for quite some time. Tonight's no different, but it's a big game, and it's his senior year. He's got to come up big here down the stretch.
In the Wildcat, here's Axman. He sheds one tackle across the 45-yard line, tackle down at the 46, and they ran Axman in the Wildcat once again. And with 7:45 to play in the fourth quarter, Waverly in no rush here faces another 3rd and very manageable 3rd and 2 officially with a touchdown lead.
Yeah, right now, you got to dig in if you're a Gretna East Griffin defender. This is it. You need a stop to give it back to that offense to give them one more chance to tie the game. So when you get in these 3rd and shorts, somebody's got to make a play, and you got to force Waverly to punt the ball or turn it over.
McMillan's the deep back. He gets the handoff, and he gets tripped up. Was he short? They're going to mark him a yard shy of the 1st down line to gain. It'll be 4th down and about 1.5 yards from the 46.5-yard line. They needed to get to the 48. Jay, I'm shocked that we did not see Nathan Axman again.
Yeah, Nathan, sometimes you try to get too cute, and McMillan's more than capable of getting that, but Axman has been unstoppable and dynamite in short yardage situations. And Coach Haberman is asking and imploring his defense to step up one more time and provide some force.
Here we go, Tepley under center. Once again, Axman not in the game on 4th and less than 2. McMillan's the deep back, and they're going to call a timeout. Will the Waverly Vikings? Gretna East did not budge, and 4th and 1 and some change is coming up on the other side of this timeout. We'll step aside, come back in 30 seconds here from Memorial Stadium in the Class B championship game on 93.7 The Ticket.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Now back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. Nick Sainert, Jay Foreman with you. 6:35. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 4th and 1 from the 47-yard line of Waverly. The Vikings send their offense onto the field. Axman, the deep back, as Tepley's under center. 2 fullbacks lined up, ready to block and pave the way for Axman. They hand it to him. He has the first down across midfield. Nathan Axman, yet again on his 37th carry of the night, gets Waverly a crucial first down.
Yeah, you know exactly when he got healthy and or recovered from whatever he had an ailment going on. You know he was coming in the game. He was getting the ball. Everybody in the stadium knows it. It's hard to stop. You got 2 offensive linemen leading him wherever he goes, and it's essentially outside zone play, back on safety, back on backer, and it's pretty hard to stop when they're getting that soft edge to the right or left side.
It was a gain of 5 on 4th down, makes it 1st and 10. Now they're on the Griffin side of the 50. They run the reverse. Here on the handoff, it's McMillan across the 40, across the 35, inside Griffin territory, inside the 30, and down at the 26-yard line is McMillan. And that's also another danger element of having Nathan Axman in the backfield. They ran Axman to the right. They've ran that toss play so often tonight to both sides. They run McMillan on a little reverse in front of the quarterback. It's a simple handoff, going the opposite way, misdirection, and McMillan has all the running room. Great blocking downfield.
Yeah, right when we thought that Waverly was thinking about punting, I think they were putting together those 2 plays back-to-back after they felt like and knew that Axman would get the first down. So now the Griffins have been in this position. They can turn them over here, potentially make them kick a field goal.
Here's a handoff to Axman on the right side. He gets stood up at that line of scrimmage, still dragging defenders. A great job by Nathan Axman. It looked like it was going to be no gain on the play, but yet somehow Axman makes it a gain of 2.
Yeah, he's a strong runner. He's hard to knock back, and he does a really good job of playing with good leverage. And I'm telling you this right now, he is one of the most balanced running backs I've seen here, calling state championship games in the last 2 years. And so he runs behind his pass, got great vision, good leverage, and really good balance, and he has enough breakaway speed to keep you honest.
5:18 and counting. We are now approaching the 5-minute mark here in the Class B state championship game. 1st and 10 from the 24. Toss crack left side. Here's Axman. He's got the edge. He's got a blocker. He breaks 1 tackle. Inside the 15 goes Axman into the 14-yard line, and Waverly is in the red zone.
Yeah, Waverly is slowly but surely. I said before the drive started there was 10 and a half minutes left, and I said, or maybe 7.5 minutes left, and they were trying to or had their mindset was let's close out this game with a long methodical drive, and we saw this at times a couple years ago with Bennington to close out their first state championship. Now you're seeing it with the Waverly Vikings taking a page out of their book. Big offensive line, physical, they execute. They bring in multiple players that are athletic to get the edges on you. They're pretty hard to stop.
Here's the Wildcat with McMillan. He cuts up field. Inside the 10 goes McMillan on 1st down and 10. He continues to drive forward inside the 5, and it's going to be 1st and goal for the Waverly Vikings with 4:15 to play in the 4th quarter.
Yeah,
that is the 11th play of the drive, a drive that started, to your point, Jay, with 10 minutes and 23 seconds on the game clock. We are just about to hit the 4-minute mark.
This is like a death blow to a defense. You've been taking huge body blows from this offensive line for 3 quarters. Now you have the defense reeling. It's just a plethora, an accumulation of body blows and gut punches that sometimes just wear you out. And this is Waverly's game. You got close enough. You missed the field goal. They got the momentum. Now they're making you pay for it.
Here's Axman, first and goal, dragging defenders. He is in. Touchdown, Waverly. The 40th carry of the night for Nathan Axman gives him now 225 rushing yards on the day and his second rushing touchdown. Nathan Axman continues to put this Waverly season on his shoulders, and he extends the lead with 3:42 to play to 34-21 Vikings.
Yeah, really good job there by Axman and the offensive line. They've been doing it all night, and 42 carries last week, 40 right now. Who knows if he'll get back out there. But that was a championship drive right there, right? Where you make a team, put them in field goal range, or they get down to field goal range, they miss it, you make them pay for it. Just take about 6 or 7 minutes off the clock, all runs most likely with Axman, a little bit of McMillan. Offensive line, right? I'm sure one of the coaches told him, like, look, this is what you do all the offseason training for. This is what you're here. You know, you got us here. We're going to lean on you guys. And they were able to answer the bell like they should.
3 minutes and 42 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. It's 35-21. Waverly on top by 14. We'll go ahead and keep it here. Once again, that capped off after a missed 34-yard field goal by Gretna East. They had all the momentum in the second half, and then they missed a 34-yard field goal on the south end of the field. Waverly got the ball at their own 20-yard line after that missed field goal. They then proceeded to go on a 12-play, 80-yard gut check drive that took and consumed 6 minutes and 41 seconds of valuable game time. And now with 3:42 to play in the fourth, it's a 14-point deficit for the Gretna East Griffins.
That was a championship drive right there, Nick, where you needed it and you needed the most. And what do? You lean on your best player and best players. Obviously, Axman and McMillan came up big.
Yeah.
And that offensive line came up even bigger all night. So that's a championship potential drive there for the Waverly Vikings. So the Gretna East Griffins have got to get a big return here and then obviously get into their offensive flow. And they're going to have to try to challenge number one out there with the plethora of receivers.
Certainly not over here, as Gretna East has shown the ability to win on the perimeter, especially with guys like Annis. And here on the return, here is Gretna East up the left side. A little bit of running room up the far sideline across the 45 and tackled out of bounds near midfield. That is number 15, or rather, that is number 2, that is Caleb Tesmer on the return.
Yep.
And that is now going to make it 1st and 10 from the 49-yard line of Gretna East here as we have 3:33 to play in the fourth quarter.
That's exactly what you want there from your return. You want a big return. You want to flip the field, and now you got to try to challenge this Waverly Vikings defense. They're not going to change. They're going to play close to the line of scrimmage. They're going to challenge you to throw it over top. You've been able to beat them a couple times, but you got to do it now when you need it most.
1st and 10 from the 49-yard line. Pistol formation, grow with Sams in the backfield. They turn, hand it off. Here's Connor. Sams, nowhere to go. He is tackled after a 1-yard gain. And, Jay, this is a 2-possession matchup right now with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. You just had a drive defensively that took off 6.5 minutes of game time.
Yeah.
And you got to throw the ball vertically at some point here.
Yeah, I think trying to run it up the middle against Waverly has not worked all night. In the start to drive off doing that after a big return, you would have rather seen them go back to their play action misdirection. Now they got it. They're getting into it right now.
Grow downfield, out of reach for the outstretched Herman. Herman was running up that far sideline in between the numbers and the boundary, and it floated over the defensive back in coverage for the Vikings. But yet I thought Herman might have been able to grab it, but it was just a tad too high.
Yeah, that's the difference in maybe like Tepley and his crew versus Grow and his crew, where there's a little bit more continuity and a little bit more efficiency in their mid to deep passing game. And it's paid off for Waverly and not so much for Gretna East.
Waverly has ran it for 285 yards in comparison. Gretna East with just over 107. A snap back on a crucial 3rd down and 9. Grow to pass downfield. They're trying to get it to number 4, Kragel. It's out of reach. and it's incomplete to bring up 4th down and 9 from the 50-yard line here at Memorial Stadium in the Class B title game.
Yeah, right now, where you think about the Gretna East, when they go back and watch this tape, they've had a step or two on the Waverly defenders. They just have not been able to be accurate enough on their deep passes. And so right now they need it the most. This is the game right here to stay alive because they only have 2 timeouts left, with Waverly being able to go into victory formation after a first down.
It's the 3rd year of Gretna East being a school. They're trying to do something special tonight. A pass on 3rd down. It's hauled in across the 40. It's a first down. Great pass and catch from Grow to Herman, and it's 1st and 10 inside the Waverly 40 at the 38.
They still have life. They've been trying to get it to Herman all night long. They were able to connect right there. And so they got to get a little bit more in a 2-minute drill type of motion, get a touchdown, and possibly get an onside kick.
1st and 10, Grow back to pass, looking, surveying, throwing left side up the seam. It is unable to be hauled in. Once again, Craigle, and that falls incomplete. Gretna East wanted a pass interference. Craigle looked to be trying to grab this with one hand. It didn't look like he needed to. He could have went up with 2 hands. It's been a real difficult night for Seth Craigle.
Yeah.
Just been a couple of drops and just some frustrations offensively for Seth Craigle. He tried to haul it in with one hand. I'm not sure he necessarily needed to, but
yeah, if you go
nonetheless,
up there with
it's
2
2nd and
hands,
10.
it gives you a chance to really catch the ball if you even have it off of a tip. But
2nd and 10 from the 39-yard line. Grow steps up in the pocket, evades pressure. He's going to run inside the 30. He gets upended, flipped over inside the 30. It's a first down on the 12-yard scramble by the Gretna East quarterback. Move the chains with 2:18 to play in the 4th.
yeah, a little bit of hurry-up mode. Good job there by Grow. Keep going forward. Right now you got to try to get to the end zone here within a play or two to try to force Waverly into.
He's looking end zone up the near sideline. It's hauled in. Touchdown, Griffins. What a nice throw by Chase Grow as it's hauled in on that near sideline. I believe that is number 0, Carver Fritchen, the junior wideout, his first catch of the day.
Yeah.
And Fritchen scores a touchdown. It's 35-27 with 2:02 to play.
Yeah, he was probably, Cagle was a little bit tired, probably keep running that go route. You get Fritchen go in and it paid off 2 for 10-fold. So now you got to make this extra point. And then obviously it comes down to special teams. And I think, Nick, it is at the point with 2 timeouts left for Gretna East, you got to go onside kick, right?
Well, the point after is up, and it is no good. Camden Korth misses the point after, and now the odds are really on that Waverly sideline as it's 35-27 with 2:02 to play in the 4th quarter. You don't necessarily have to go onside because essentially with 2 timeouts to play, you can stop it twice. You think about an additional 40 seconds after that. You don't have to necessarily go for the onside kick, but to your point, Jay, that's probably your best bet at this point.
Probably your best bet because you want the ball back in your hands. You do not want Axman to be able to crank up that running game and keep going downhill. So for Gretna East, you gotta get your kicker's mind right. Obviously, you missed an easy field goal, what thought to be an easy field goal and an extra point. So now you got to have him focus on the best onside kick that he's ever had, and then you got to have the coverage unit covered as well. And obviously Waverly's coming out expecting an onside kick, and so you got to out execute them if you want to be a champion and you want to win this state championship. You're going to need this onside kick to give yourself more than a chance to go and potentially tie the game because now you got to go for 2 if you're able to get a touchdown.
They are going to attempt an onside kick. Gretna East in 2023 in year number 1 had 3 wins. Last season they doubled it and had 6, but lost in the 2nd round to Seward. Here in 25, they're in the championship game. The kicker, number 9, Camden Korth. The right-footed kicker kicks an onside kick, and it's fielded by guess who? Nathan Axman.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the guy that I'm going to kick it towards in an onside kick, but now they got to go out of here and try to stop this running attack here. So defensively, what you're thinking about, we got to swarm the ball. We got to secure the tackle by the first 2 guys. The 3rd and 4th guy got to try to rake the ball out, and then everybody's got to go and try to dive on it and get the ball back because If you're just trying to make a straight-up tackle against Axman, this game's going to be over very, really quickly.
35-27 is your score. Waverly takes over near midfield, 1st and 10 at their own 47-yard line. Gretna East cannot allow a first down. Tepley in the shotgun. Nathan Axman with 40 carries on the night and 2 rushing touchdowns is lined up to the left hip of Tepley. Waverly trying to get their state title for the first time in 45 years. There goes Axman. Axman across the 25-yard line, and he trots in untouched. There it is with 1:53 to go. It's 41-27. How about Nathan Axman untouched from 53 yards out, and Waverly, for the first time in 45 years, can smell the roses as they are on a doorstep of a Class B title.
Yeah, with no other way to go out for Axman is against a all-out blitz, zero blitz, where you're trying to, they're trying to stop you. They believe in you so much, give it to you, take it home, house call. Great job there by that Waverly Viking offensive line. They blocked it perfectly, and it was a good defensive call, but I just think that Waverly was just a little bit better tonight across the offense and defensive lines, and would led them to a state championship.
The point after is up, and it is good with 1:53 to play. It is 42-27. Nathan Axman, 41 carries, 277 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns. What a performance. Even Tepley, the quarterback, 8 for 11, 138 passing yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. And since that fumble on Waverly's first offensive snap of the game, they have been almost perfect.
Yeah. And they've also answered the bell with a championship drive, and now you had a championship play and a career-defining play by Axman with that home run right there when it was a chance that Gretna was going to try to get back into this game. And so, Waverly was obviously they're the more senior-laden team, but Gretna is on the come up here, and they gave them a challenge. They had a chance. They had a chance to either tie the game, or get within 4 with the field goal. Gretna took advantage of that, and then obviously put an exclamation point on this championship game with that big run there by Axman. The 53-yard run. He was approaching 300 yards.
Yeah. 277 on the day for Nathan Axman. It's 42-27. And Gretna East needs some miracle to happen here. Down by 15 with less than 2 minutes to play and 2 timeouts in their back pocket. We'll see what they can do offensively. It's a short kick fielded at the 20-yard line, and it's bobbled and fumbled, and it's still loose on the turf and finally recovered by the Griffins shy of the 25-yard line and down at the 24. And the Griffins return man is slow to get up on that far side of the field as well, and so they will have to bring the medical team out and tend to him. We will step aside one last time in today's game for 30 seconds here on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Now back to high school football on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nick Sainert, the Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman alongside here in the final moments of the Class B state championship game. We've seen some really good games today as in the D1 title game this morning, Sandy Creek won 66-26. In the D2 state championship matchup, we saw Wynot win their first title in school history with a 71-60 victory. And here in the Class B championship, Waverly is on the doorstep, up by 15, 42-27, with less than 1:50 to go. First down and 10. From their own 25-yard line, Gretna East needs something to happen as this one on the toss. It's a fumble recovered by Waverly inside the 20-yard line. Rather, they're going to call it a pass. They're going to say that it was a pass forward rather than a toss backwards. And so because of some poor discipline and fundamentals on that play, Jay, They might get rewarded on that.
Yeah, I was a little bit of a panic mode there by Grow. And more importantly, Nick, being down by 14 points with 1:44 left, I'm not sure why you're running speed option.
I'm not entirely sure that was a forward pass either. And so they showed the replay. So he tossed it at the 20. I think that was a backwards toss pass, however you want to classify it. And we'll see if they decide to go to the monitor. It does not appear that they will. 2nd down and 10. And now I think potentially the Waverly sideline convinced them to. The mic is not on. It's a timeout charge to Waverly. I think the hope for the Waverly staff in Reed Manstead is that the more time that they wait in between plays, the room to our right hopefully buzzes down and says, hey, let's go ahead and take a look at this one. But for right now, with 1:44 to go in the ball game, it does not appear that they will. It's a 15-point ball game. 2nd down and 10 is how it stands currently. Waverly just burned their second timeout of the second half. I certainly thought that was backwards, Jay.
Yeah, it looked like it was definitely backwards. It didn't have a chance to go forward.
No.
So where it first left his hand.
His body was also angled to where if he throws it directly in line with his body,
it's still backwards.
It's backwards. Yeah. And so either way, Gretna East catches a break. And so they will hold on to this one. 2nd down and 10 after what they called an incomplete pass. 2nd down and 10 from the 25-yard line of the Griffins. Grow in the shotgun with Sams behind him. And to your point, Jay, don't really have time to run some speed option plays. Pass down the middle of the field. Watch out as in traffic, Herman able to haul it in. Wow, McMillan was flying in from the other side of the field. As a nervous point to be in from up here.
Yeah.
Now seeing the bodies just kind of intersecting.
Yeah, McMillan was going for the interception. Usually a safety is trying to go for the big hit. Good job there by Herman coming down with it in traffic. Good concentration there.
1st and 10 from midfield. There's Grow looking right side. He has a receiver. It's caught, and he turns inside into the numbers. It's going to be another 1st down for Gretna East. A smart decision. Well, I should say, it worked out because it worked out to move the chains. But initially, I thought get out of bounds, stop the clock. But nonetheless, that was Carver Fritchen who caught the touchdown earlier, making a nice play after the catch. Here on 1st and 10, looking to pass. Grow steps up in the pocket, still surveying, throws it towards the end zone. It's Fritchen again. He's pushed down. There is no flag on the play. And in coverage for the Waverly Vikings was number 24 on defense, Ray Martin, the junior defensive back.
Yeah, we thought we were going to get a pass interference call because Fritchen's come in and really put in a lot of work. And so he threw a 50-50 ball up there. A little bit too much air on that ball, so it didn't allow the referee to throw his flag.
Exactly 1 minute on the game clock. 42-27, your score. Waverly up by 15. 2nd down and 10 at the 29-yard line of the Vikings. Back to pass. Here's Grow. Grow looking, throwing end zone towards it on the near pylon, and there is no penalty again. They're saying that the receiver stepped out of bounds under his own power rather than being shoved out of bounds. Once again in coverage, Ray Martin, the junior defensive back. And on that Gretna East sideline, I think head coach Justin Haberman continues to ask for an explanation.
Yeah, I think he was forced out of bounds. He was ridden out of bounds. But I think as a receiver, you need to fight that pressure a little bit, then maybe give the urge the referee to throw that flag.
Here's the 3rd and 10 across the middle. Grow throwing to Herman. It's intercepted. Going the other way. The Waverly Vikings, they turn it over. On 3rd and 10, they force an interception across the middle of the field. It was a pass intended for Herman. That connection's been unstable all night long, just has not been able to be successful time and time again. And the feeling has started to settle in on that Gretna East sideline, but conversely, the celebration has started on that Waverly sideline.
Yeah, value and effort by Gretna East. They probably woke up a little bit too late. I felt like they played extremely tight in the first half. So they're probably going to regret that, maybe going into offseason. But I think they'll learn from it, and I would be very surprised if they're not back in the hunt next year. But you want to tip your hat to the Waverly Vikings. They showed the championship pedigree right from the beginning. First play they had the ball, Axman fumbled it, regrouped, and have been unstoppable ever since. Championship moments, championship team, they are your Class B champions.
Great smart move by Broxton Tepley to melt 4 seconds off the clock, as that was the last snap of the game. Rather, they're going to need one more, I should say. It's about a half a second behind, but nonetheless, 42-27 is your score. Waverly, for the first time since 1980, they are going to be crowned Class B state champions. They hadn't been here since 1980. They were runner-up in 75. They beat McCook 45 years ago, 14-7. It took a few more points tonight than it did back 45 years ago. There's the triple zeros on the scoreboard, and your final score in the Class B state championship game, Waverly 42, the Gretna East Griffins 27.
Yeah, congrats to Waverly. Obviously, they earned it. They were a big physical team, undefeated all year for a reason, battle-tested. They had a hit list, going into the season. They knocked off every team that beat them in the past, and they faced a upstart Gretna East Griffin team that's come a long ways with a very, very young roster. It was a heck of a game. I just think a little bit of the experience, or a little bit more experience, a little bit more grown-up team paid dividend for Waverly this year. So you got to tip your hat to them, but then also tip your hat to Gretna East as well.
Huge congrats to everyone on that Waverly Vikings sideline. They win this one on the shoulders of Nathan Axman, who caps off a remarkable career. Axman continues to shine. 42-27 is your final score. The Waverly Vikings are your Class B state champions for the first time since 1980 with a 42-27 victory over the Gretna East Griffins. Gretna East, a bright future ahead. We talked about their youth all night long. We talked about how much this school as a whole has kind of burst onto the scene in their first 3 years of inception. And man, oh man, when you look at that Gretna East sideline, there was a lot of players, especially at quarterback with Chase Groh, especially on the perimeter with some of their players they will certainly be in the hunt for the next couple of years to come. But your final score, one last time from Memorial Stadium, Waverly 42, Gretna East 27. For the Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and for Harrison Arns back in our 93.7 The Ticket Studios, I'm Nick Sainer saying so long from your Monday state championship action. We come at you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time for Class C2, Class C1, and Class A state championship football one final time here in the 2025 season. Congrats to the Waverly Vikings, your 2025 Class B state champions.
There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and elliptical